The deal calls for 2% annual raises plus some money for the 5 years teachers went without a contract. Mayor Bill de Blasio says the city can afford it.
This agreement is entirely funded within the city's current budget framework.
Negotiation has been closely watched because it may set a pattern for others. More than 100 public employee unions have been working without contracts, in part because the last mayor, Michael Bloomberg, insisted the city could not afford retroactive raises. Warren Levinson, New York.
And that's the news. For Radio VR in Washington, I'm Rick Young.
This program is brought to you by FreeKeen.com. FreeKeen.com features audio, video, and blogs chronicling the transition to a voluntary society. FreeKeen.com also has comments and discussion forums so you can be heard. FreeKeen.com.
Sources are confirming that a man currently on a very intense cell phone call has been walking down the same city block for the past 45 minutes, periodically shaking his head and speaking brusquely to the individual on the other line.
Please, just give me 1 second to make one point.
Onlookers speculate that the man is in his early 30s and is either talking to a coworker, boss, or possibly his wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, attorney, or some sort of client of some kind.
They say insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Thus far, the man has walked by the same cafe over 10 times.
You know, when I was coming in, I heard him say, "You're just not listening. That's the problem." So, it sounds like a pretty frustrating phone call. He's running his hand through his hair again.
I cannot believe this. I literally cannot believe this.
In addition to poking the air when making a point, the frustrated man has also been observed repeatedly massaging his forehead. Thus far, it remains unclear where the man was headed before taking his call, or whether or not the call itself is making him late for something.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live, and you may take control of the airwaves toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That is the Pro XPN toll-free line as we launch into this, the live Saturday edition of the program. Joining you in the studio tonight, it's Ian.
And Mark.
And don't forget, you can join us online over at freetalklive.com. Create the content that you see there. Listeners just like you have submitted news stories or fun stuff, YouTube videos, whatever it is you find online and interesting or entertaining, outrageous, exciting, fun. You just put it up on our website, and our listeners, like you, will get to vote on what you like and what you don't. And then we can look at the options before the show and see if there's anything we want to discuss. Of course, the best way to get your thoughts and ideas on the air is to, dial in toll-free here at 855-450-FREE. I want to welcome our brand newest radio affiliate, KMYC 1410 AM Right Talk Radio in Yuba City, California. So welcome aboard. I'm actually pretty excited about that. That's where some of our that's where Benjamin Bartholomew lives, actually, who is one of our frequent callers, and he's a producer with Free Talk Live. He is the editor and the creator of our weekly digest, which I don't think we've mentioned this week. So now's as good a time as any. If you can't listen to all 7 nights of Free Talk Live, all 21 weekly broadcast hours, Benjamin Bartholomew has been putting together this weekly digest, which is about a 75-minute audio presentation that is essentially a highlight reel of an entire week's worth of Free Talk Live, as according to what Benjamin believed was the most interesting content.
And his opinion's as good as anybody else's. He's the one who takes the time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So you can get the weekly digest by subscribing to our regular podcast, or there's one that's special just for the weekly digest. Just go to freetalklive.com. You look on the left-hand side under our podcast there, and you'll find it along with Mark's thing, the Edgington Post. That's got its own breakaway podcast as well. So all of that content, by the way, is free at freetalklive.com. Now, something that is not free is buying a woman's virginity. The news story is from HuffingtonPost.com. She's 27 years old. Her name, it's apparently a pseudonym, Elizabeth Rain. She's a medical school student, and she's auctioning off her virginity online.
She probably needs it to pay all those student loans.
She may very well. And I imagine $550,000 would come pretty close to that. I don't know what it costs to go through med school, but
that's what it's at right now as far as the bidding.
That's correct.
I don't think she knew what her virginity was going to bring. So,
What was the last one? I don't remember.
Wasn't there some lady in the South America doing it?
Well, there was a story that we talked about a little while back.
It's been a couple of years.
It's been a couple years where it was both a male and a female were having their virginity auctioned.
Gee, I wonder who did better.
The female, by far. I think the male only got like $2,000. The female, I don't remember what the female received, but there was some sort of fallout between the producer of the movie. There was like going to be a movie about these two virgins auctioning their virginity, and there was some sort of contractual dispute. I don't remember all the details, so I don't know if it ever panned out for that lady or whoever the winning bidder was in that case.
Indeed.
In this case, Elizabeth Rain appears to be kind of heading this up herself. She is.
Well, she's 27. It's not like she's some kid out of high school can't handle this stuff on her own.
She's been running her online virginity auction since March 31st, and the bidding period ends on May 7th. Previously, Rain.
It's getting close.
She has, by the way, now decided to show her face 5 weeks after making her project public. Previously, she had hidden her face in photos and declined to answer questions that might reveal her true identity.
I'm kind of curious about that. I mean, it would seem like the shape of your face would be really important to people as far as a virginity auction goes, right?
Well, maybe she's expecting that it'll bring in some extra bids.
I would think so.
On the website, let's see, her website. This is
auctionyourvirginity.com.
No, it's actually pretty hard to tell you what it is on the air because it's spelled funny. Elizabeth-Rain, RAINE. So Elizabeth, standard spelling, Rain with an E at the end, .com. You go there and you can see she's got a gallery of photos. She kind of describes herself, 5'10", 130 pounds, measurements. She's blonde hair. And you can see her whole body in these photos, but she has a kind of a stripe across all of her faces in these pictures. And she's an attractive-looking woman, at least from the body perspective, and not a bad-looking woman as far as her face. I'm sure.
Right, I saw her face recently.
She'll have no trouble, getting more bids. I imagine.
I'm stunned. Who's paying $500,000 to have sex with someone?
I don't think
the
it's
old
worth
saying
it.
that there's no such thing as $1,000 hooker, only $1,000 John. I guess it's really true. Apparently, there's a $500,000 John out there.
So, if you're obviously welcome to comment on this, would you bid on a virginity auction, first of all, and if so, why? But if you're opposed to this, I would also like to know, what does this upset you? Does this woman auctioning her virginity off to the highest bidder, is that upsetting to you? And if so, why? The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733.
With that $500,000 or more, it's probably going to go much higher. And in all likelihood, the bidding's going to really heat up in the next couple of days.
Maybe
this $1 million bid for this woman's virginity, she can certainly hire some security, which would be my main concern.
That as far as like meeting a psychopath or something like that.
Something. I mean, I don't have any idea.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's certainly possible that some psychos are going to have $500,000 to throw around. But I imagine that whoever this person is probably just some lonely rich guy. But anyway,
I guess I'm imagining a sheik, an oil sheik or something.
Previously, Rain had hidden her hidden her face in photos and has decided to reveal it in order to help attract bids from otherwise skeptical customers. She says
she's got $500,000. What's she need to attract bids for? She's never going to work again.
Let's see. When did she reveal herself? It was actually only about 5 days ago when she revealed herself.
Apparently, ladies, all you have to do is retain your virginity until you're 27 years old and then auction it off online. Oh, you got to be attractive and 5'11".
It probably helps. She says, I actually didn't like the anonymity. People mistake it for shame, she told the Huffington Post. Plus, there's been some speculation that I'd be outed, and I wanted to do it on my own terms. The story is that she has at least a bid that's guaranteed at $300,000. She says she's received bids near $550,000 that she's in the process of confirming. According to her website, that is the top bid at the moment. Rain may be showing her face, but she's still afraid of getting kicked out of the medical school that she attends if officials discover that she is the med school virgin. Lawyers have different opinions on whether I'd get kicked out, but one lawyer I trust believes it won't happen, she said, after providing the Huffington Post with passport photos, student ID, and other materials confirming her identity.
Well, I shouldn't see any reason why it should affect her schooling. I mean, I understand school's an unusual circumstance. College is an unusual circumstance. It's about the only place you can pay people to tell you what to do. That and dominatrix dens. I mean, I don't really understand the business model in the sense that, every other place you pay and you tell them what to do, or they pay you and tell you what to do. There you pay and they tell you what to do.
She claims to have a bachelor's degree in both biology and engineering, as currently completing a combined MD/PhD program. She was born in the Southwest but spent much of her youth in Saudi Arabia, where her father was employed in the oil industry. She cites financial gain as the number one reason for selling her alleged purity, but adventure, eroticism, scandal, and the chance to challenge norms about virginity also play into her decision. She said, "I've been planning this for a year, and I've had a personal transformation because of it. I'm more educated about prostitution, virginity, and slut-shaming." Rain said her mother died when she was 10. Still, as tragic as that was, she dismisses dime store psychologists who want to use that incident to explain why she's a virgin.
Well, yeah, I mean, if no matter what the incident was in her past, somebody would say that was the reason that she's doing this. I suspect. The fact is if people are honest, the vast majority of the listening audience out here would take some amount of money for
their virginity?
For sex. Well, they don't have their virginity. Most of the people I'm talking to are no longer virgins, and who cares? But I mean, they can admit honestly that they were a sexual being when they were a virgin, and that they would take some money now for some kind of sex act. I don't know how much the money is. Some people, it's a lot, and it really depends on the sex act. But
most people have a price. I think you're right.
The vast majority of them out there, some people will claim otherwise. Perhaps that's true. Perhaps they're just fooling themselves. I don't know. If a suitcase full of cash was popped open in front of them, they might change their mind.
What are your thoughts on this lady selling her virginity to the top bidder? What if she were somebody that you knew? What if she were a family member, a sister, or somebody that you're related to closely? Would that change how you feel about this? 855-450-FREE is the toll-free number. Free Talk Live.
Hi, I'm Lynn, and I am totally blind. Like many who are totally blind, I have non-24, a circadian rhythm disorder that can put your sleep-wake cycle out of sync with the 24-hour day. But I found out there's a new treatment available for non-24. It's called Hetlioz Tazimiltian, the first FDA-approved treatment for non-24.
The most common side effects of Hetlioz include headache, elevated liver enzymes, nightmares or abnormal dreams, and upper respiratory or urinary tract infection. These may occur more often in patients 65 or older. It may cause drowsiness, so limit your activity to preparing for bed. Hetlioz has not been studied, and it is not recommended for use in pregnant women, children, or people with severe liver problems. To learn more and to hear the full prescribing information, visit Hetlioz.com or call 844-241-2424. That's 844-241-2424.
Hetlioz is now available for non-24. Talk to your doctor today.
Sponsored by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
Making the right decisions is a challenge to investors. Are we going to see economic growth, slide into a recession, or at worst, depression? Hi, Ted Anderson from Midas Resources. We all know when a company acts irresponsibly, divesting ourselves in a move towards safety is prudent. When the market becomes volatile, U.S. Treasuries are a safe haven. But what do you do when the U.S. government overextends itself and spends beyond its means? Many investors are turning toward gold as a common-sense alternative to traditional paper investments. Midas Resources has put together a powerful book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, discussing costs, benefits, risks, featuring full-color illustrations, weights, and measures. The book is free and can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. Paper investments are dwarfed by gold's 6,000-year history. Discover how gold may be right for you and your IRA by calling 800-686-2237. Whether buying or it's time for you to sell, the book is free. Call 800-686-2237.
May I have your attention, please? If you are trying to lose weight, we need your help. We're AF Plus, and we have too much product and too few participants in our nationwide risk-free trial. If you need to lose 30 pounds or more and would like to participate, call now. 1-800-967-9495. AF Plus is an amazing, proven breakthrough in weight loss. A once-daily capsule that can help you lose weight in days. It's also one of the healthiest ways to lose weight because each capsule contains natural ingredients, including green tea extract. You'll boost your metabolic heart rate, allowing you to shed pounds in days with just 1 capsule a day. Be among the first to call for your risk-free trial. Again, we have too many risk-free trials and too few participants. If you would like to lose 30 pounds or more by taking just 1 all-natural capsule a day, call now to participate in this nationwide risk-free trial. 1-800-967-9495. That number again is 1-800-967-9495.
The 3 most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share 1 episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Liberty activists around the country are starting to realize politics alone won't set us free. So what will? At Liberty on the Rocks, we believe the answer starts with living your principles, spreading ideas, and connecting with those around you. By starting a Liberty on the Rocks network, you can make a difference by uniting libertarian thinkers. Find out how much fun it is to build your local network from the ground up. Visit libertyontherocks.org today to get started.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live and the live Saturday edition of the program. We're talking about a 27-year-old lady who is auctioning her virginity. She claims to still have it and says she will submit to some sort of medical examination or even a lie detector test in order to prove that she has it. Now, I wonder if she's going to be accepting Bitcoin for her bids here. She's up to $550,000 US, and maybe she should look into the blockchain app from blockchain.com to allow her to accept Bitcoin like a merchant would. If you're a merchant, for instance, and you've been looking to accept Bitcoin from your customers, blockchain.com now has a merchant app. If you've got an Android-based device, whether it's your smartphone or a tablet that you want to set up maybe at your point of sale, then blockchain has a solution for you. And it doesn't require terms of service. You just go and download the app and get started accepting Bitcoin for your business at blockchain.com. There's no ID requirements either. Just go and grab it for free from the Google Play Store at blockchain.com, and there's 0 fees to accept Bitcoin with the Blockchain Merchant app. That's blockchain.com. Your thoughts certainly welcome on this 27-year-old lady. She says she's not emotionally damaged, broken, or shut off as a result of her mother dying when she was 10 years old. She says to the contrary.
So what if she is?
She says, to the contrary, while it was truly devastating and the only difficult experience I've ever been through, my character and outlook on life are much better for it. I've become more compassionate, strong, motivated, and free in spirit. I've learned not
She's made it all the way through med school.
Yep. She's still in med school, but she's gotten a couple bachelors already.
Well, it's a lot more determination than the average person has.
For sure. She says, I've learned not to take life too seriously, but also not to take it for granted. In the past, Rain said sex and relationships took a backseat to school and her other interests. She says, I have a busy life. I'm picky, and guys were never a priority. I had other things going on. Rain can't help but attract skeptics given the problems experienced by previous internet virgins like Natalie Dillon and Katerina Migliorini. Apparently there's now a category of people like this, internet virgins. Now, remember Katerina, I did go ahead and dig a little bit on her. She was the 21-year-old at the time. This was a few years ago. 21-year-old, actually it was only a couple years ago. A few years ago. Anyway, a 21-year-old, she actually went for $780,000.
Jeez.
She's saying she was tricked and exploited, which, of course, was the fallout that I mentioned earlier between her and the filmmaker who was kind of helping her organize this. So, hopefully things will go better. By the way, that Katerina is still a virgin, and it never happened for her. Whatever the deal was fell through. And there's another lady they were talking about here, Natalie Dillon. She was 22 years old, offered her virginity. The top bidder backed out, claiming his wife was upset. So I'm not sure if she ever ended up getting cashing in either.
These gals there needs to be a site somebody needs to make internetvirgin.com and,
oh my God,
and auction this stuff off. I mean,
there could be some huge money in that.
Apparently. I mean, if you're taking a small percentage, it's making it easy. Apparently these ladies have a lot of problem collecting.
Want to know how you feel about this lady auctioning her virginity off? Let's go to Barbara listening in Wisconsin. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. You can also Skype in at username LRN.FM on Skype. Hey, Barbara, you're on the air.
Hey, so that's a very interesting conundrum. Let's imagine that it was her father who was auctioning off her virginity. I think people would be scandalized.
I think they would too.
Yeah, that would seem a little bit creepier, I think. Than
a little bit. That's slavery.
Yeah, that.
So there's some value to some woman's, virginity, and people want to, money from it. And she says, "Well, I own my virginity. Why don't I make some money from it?"
Indeed.
But here's what I have to say: is in a lot of the First Nation tribes before we wiped them out, we settlers.
I have not wiped anyone out. I would just like to point that out.
Mostly disease.
I'm a peaceful individual, and I have not harmed another person. Go
our
ahead.
relatives, that a man or a woman or a boy or a girl could choose an older person from the tribe to have sex with for the first time, so that they learned about their body, they learned about how to gain pleasure, they learned about how to give pleasure, so that they became a good sexual partner for someone. And it just seems odd to me that this woman would choose whoever had the most money, rather than, if she's going to choose a sexual partner, why not choose somebody who's going to give her the most pleasure, or who will teach her things?
Well, some work is displeasurable. I'm sure you do things in your life that's not particularly pleasurable, and some people do work for money. And she's probably thinking to herself, whatever sort of chore this might be, is worth the money.
So you're saying that she's decided to become a sex worker?
Yes.
She clearly has decided to become a sex worker.
Well, on her blog, actually, she has, let me give you her blog site.
I don't need to say it. It seems obvious.
Her blog is musingsofavirginwhore.com. She talks about how since she's gotten into this whole auctioning her virginity thing, that she's really learned a lot about, how sex workers are treated, and she wants to... she's looking at maybe rededicating her life to helping sex workers and, helping protect their rights.
I think I stand within the cadre of women who think that sex should not be a commodity.
So,
it should be something that's enjoyable for both people.
So you feel...
and money should not change hands.
Okay, so just to clarify what you're saying, it's one thing if you believe that people should not sell sex, but do you believe that people should be put in a jail cell for selling sex?
No.
Okay, good. So then you would favor legalizing prostitution then?
Yeah, well, I think that you have the right to have sex with whomever you choose.
Okay.
Indeed.
Right, and that there's a lot of difficulties attached to that. For instance, if you're married and have children, you can't just have sex with whoever you choose, or it makes your life into a mess.
Yeah, it's complicated then.
Right. So, but I really do think that the minute you put money into the mix, that you're making it 100 times worse.
Well, now, so speaking as adults here, the fact is that there are negotiations that go on all the time around sex. My wife has told me on multiple occasions that she never finds me more sexy than when I'm doing the dishes, which is, it's a little note. Hey, let's get some housework done here, pal. This is there's negotiations that go around sex in monogamous relationships and polygamous relationships and serial monogamy relationships, all relationships. And so if those negotiations happen to include greenbacks, who am I to say?
Well, look at the movie in which whoever it was, Demi Moore, had sex for money.
Yes.
She was happily married. I mean, that pretty much spells out the fact that it's not just a simple transaction. There are emotional things attached to it.
That's socialization,
so once you mix up emotional things and money things, and I say that it's better just to have sex with whoever you think is going to give you the most pleasure.
Well, I think that's generally a true statement. I mean, I think that sex is a fun thing and people should enjoy it and be safe at the same time. But on the other hand, first-time sex is usually bad. Especially first time as a virgin, you have no experience, you don't know what you're doing. Why not get $500,000 for it? If you're going to have bad sex.
But if she chooses somebody who really knows how to do it, who can teach you how to have good sex, it would be really good the first time.
Would it be $500,000 good? That's what I want to know.
Maybe it would be really good, or maybe it'd be painful. I mean, there could be blood. It could be painful the first time if her hymen's still there. Barbara, thanks for your call and the thoughts tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. I mean, if you're going to have bad sex, why not take $500,000 away from the experience?
I'm not advocating for this. I think that this is complicates one's life. But it's her business, not mine.
I think my life would be less complicated if I had $500,000. More coming up here. Free Talk Live.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right, that's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
Free Press Publications is an independent alternative media and publishing company founded in June 2009 with the mission of ensuring a free press for the freedom movement and is committed to spreading the message of peace, freedom, love, and liberty. FPP also gives new authors an avenue for publishing freedom-oriented material. FPP brings you daily news and commentary at fpp.cc, as well as weekly news in the FPP Freedom Minute and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio at fppradio.com. The monthly newspaper FPP News at news.fpp.cc and books at shop.fpp.cc. Find FPP online at fpp.cc. That's fpp.cc, as in Creative Commons.
Are you looking for camping, hunting, survival, or shooting gear? ManVentureOutpost.com carries the name brands you want at the lowest prices. Ammunition, knives, firearm accessories, archery, air guns, scopes, binoculars, laser sights, tactical flashlights, fish finders, and boating equipment. ManVentureOutpost.com is family-owned and has the lowest prices. Go check it for yourself. Get it quick. Get it from ManVentureOutpost.com.
Now buy firearms at ManVentureOutpost.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. Find out about giving to our Google AdWords campaign at amp.freetalklive.com. That's amp.freetalklive.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Just dial on in toll free here at 855-450-FREE. There's a medical student. She's 27 years old. She is auctioning her virginity. She says she's been planning this for a year and believes everything's in place. Wondering how you feel about it. You're welcome to share your thoughts at 855-450-FREE. You may also join us via Skype. Our Skype username is lrn.fm. And don't forget, you can join us online at freetalklive.com.
You can go to proflowers.com because Mother's Day is coming up, and this is something you can't forget. The sooner you get this order in, the better deal you're going to get. That's how it goes with the shipping at proflowers.com. It all has to do with the proximity to Mother's Day as far as the delivery and the ordering. So go to proflowers.com and get this beautiful arrangement that we got here at the studio. It's a dozen rainbow roses, and you can get it for $20, $19.99. It's a wonderful arrangement. Get it delivered anywhere in the United States. And actually, you can upgrade for just $10 more. You can double the roses and get chocolates, plus a premium vase. So proflowers.com, go there, take a look. When you go to proflowers.com, there's a microphone. It's blue. It's up in the right-hand corner of the screen. Click on that and enter FTL. That's FTL as in Free Talk Live. Enter that, and you will be taken to our page, and you'll get to see the wonderful arrangements that I've been telling you about, these rainbow roses, and they are fabulous. But there's lots of other arrangements there to pick from, too. Get them so that, you don't even have to get them delivered on Mother's Day. You can get them delivered before or after. They'll certainly deliver right on Mother's Day. But deliver them to the office so Mom gets to, have the attention of the folks at work too. Proflowers.com, microphone in the upper right-hand corner, coupon code FTL.
All right, so we continue here, and the med student, 27-year-old med student who is auctioning her virginity, certainly not the first person to do so. In fact, there's kind of a category of people, internet virgins, as they're called. One lady earned up to, or she was supposed to earn $700-something thousand, but the deal fell through. This lady believes she's got it all set. She's been planning it for a year. The story is over at HuffingtonPost.com. She says, I'm very cautious and detail-oriented. I have confidence that I can execute and control it. The winning bidder will have to provide Rain with proof that he has no sexually transmitted diseases and is willing to wear a condom. He also may not be under the influence of booze or drugs during the encounter, nor may he attempt anal sex or treat her violently. She said she's open to kissing the winning bidder and even holds out a small amount of hope that it might lead to something more. She says, I wouldn't rule out love, but it's very unlikely. And I would have to agree there.
Yeah.
So this kind of brings up other issues just about people's obsession with virginity as well. I mean, you're
Silly.
paying $500,000 here. One of the commenters on our Facebook page points out, if you want to pay to have sex, pay a high-end prostitute who knows what she's doing.
Right.
And you'll get a lot cheaper of a price than $500,000.
Right. I mean, this is some kind of bragging rights, and disgusting bragging rights at that, in my opinion. I mean, that's what we want to brag about?
That presumes the man who's the winner will want to be identified. She does point out that she is going to protect the winning bidder, unless he wants to reveal any information.
I can see no reason you would want to have sex with a virgin other than bragging rights, even if those bragging rights are to yourself.
Let's go to the phones here. We've got Dana in New Hampshire listening to WKBK. Hello, Dana.
Hey, how are you?
What's on your mind tonight?
Hey, I can't imagine that anybody's foolish enough to pay $500,000 to do that.
You just don't believe it's happening?
Well, I think it might be happening, but like you said about the previous person there, that the deal fell through. I just don't understand how. I can't imagine that there's somebody out there that is willing to pay $500,000 for sex. I mean, it's insanity.
Well, imagine a lonely, wealthy man who is, always been, I guess, in the business world his whole life, never successful with women. I mean, I could certainly see a desperate, lonely man doing something like that.
Well, I have nothing against doing that. The problem is, I mean, you can certainly find escorts for $200-300 or or $1,000. I mean, it's just the price is just astronomical.
Yeah.
I have nothing against prostitution. I mean, my brother used to live in Las Vegas, and I've seen a lot of situations there and other places where, these local governments, local police forces, they set up these elaborate stings, spend huge amounts of money trying to entrap people in these victimless crimes. I mean, it's insanity. Vice squads and it should all be legal, all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think what you're pointing out is accurate, Dana, is because these previous internet virgins, as they're being called now, many of these things have fallen apart. And I think what they really need is they need a website. They need an internet pimp to put it all together. And
escrow.
Yeah, right. The money needs to go into escrow. Hey, shut up about your bid until I see that money in the bank account. It needs to be held in the hands of a trusted third party.
Well, I don't know how they're getting around it legally either, though, because technically that's, you're violating the law in this country, offering your body for sex.
Good question. Actually,
not in Las Vegas.
So it's been it's been done differently, in different iterations here.
Okay.
So one of the ladies who ended up having the winning bidder back out before he showed up, she was going to do it at the Bunny Ranch in Nevada.
Yeah.
So she had a deal with the Bunny Ranch. In this case, this lady, the med student, is going to go to Australia, and I'm not sure what the laws are there, but I imagine she's done her research.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's just, most places, even in Las Vegas, it is illegal. The outskirts around Las Vegas is where the brothels are. But
my understanding is a county in Las Vegas or in Nevada can't have both gambling and prostitution.
Really?
That's my understanding.
Right. Yeah, that's accurate. It's but I on my job I bring people on trips and fishing and trips and all over the place, and I've been to Brazil many times and Dominican Republic and Costa Rica. It's all legal there, and it's just it's nothing is made. It's not a big deal there. It's just this country. It's just so. I mean, it's like everything. They've got too many laws and too many restrictions.
Well, people are uptight about sex in America, and I think that's one of the reasons why you have kind of when you have repression, people will they'll kind of act out in certain ways based on how they're being repressed. And of course, there's a lot of Puritanism in the past in the United States, and I think that one of the ways that might act out is in an obsession over virginity. Instead of people having healthy attitudes towards sex, there's a lot of real concern, I think. Dana, thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I appreciate hearing from you, and I agree totally that the prostitution should be legal. That would really change. I wonder how that would change the amount of money she would take in. If prostitution were legal, and if it were no big deal to just go out and hire somebody to engage in a sexual service, then would she be getting less for this auction, or would it not even be a factor, simply because maybe virgin prostitutes would be fairly rare?
I would think that it wouldn't be a factor. I mean, that would be my. Oh no, I'm sorry. I would think it would be a factor. I think she'd get less. Although virginity is something that is, it's a scarce resource in that sense. I would think that if people were, able to go to prostitutes, it would probably drive down the rates. Currently, what I understand in this country, that prostitutes bring about the same thing as lawyers bring per hour of their time. That's what we interviewed a prostitute here on the air one time, and that's what she said. So I'll go for that.
It depends. If you're a street hooker, it's probably not going to be lawyer money.
It's going to be a lot less, right?
Yeah.
So
it's going to be crack money in that case.
Yeah, I don't know how these. I don't know a lot of the specifics of this business. It's not something I've done a lot of research on.
Well, if you would like to chime in here with your thoughts, maybe you've been in the sex work trade, you're welcome to dial in toll free at 855-450-FREE. What a strange thing that she says she's open to kissing the winning bidder. I guess that means she's willing to, unless he's got some sort of lesion on his lips or something like that. But
you're assuming it's going to be a man.
Well, good. I think it's a fair assumption that it's going to be a man.
Cisgendered privilege.
Let's go to Ed. He's in Syracuse. You're on Free Talk Live. Ed, go ahead with your thoughts.
I just think there's not as much commonality with people nowadays, in large part from the deceptive skewing of the issues away from what some people term synthetic telepathy.
I have no idea what you're talking about, but I'm going to let you try to explain it one more time when we come back here in moments. More with Ed. I don't know. Were you anywhere near
sympathetic telepathy?
What he was talking about?
Yes, sympathetic telepathy.
Okay, you're going to have to help me with this one then, Mark. 855.
Well, if you don't get it, you just don't get it.
450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can talk about this woman selling her virginity or whatever's on your mind here on Free Talk Live.
All right, hold on. We got to interrupt the regularly scheduled stuff for just a minute. I've got to tell you about this because it's weird. It'll make sense. What if I told you that eating this one weird spice could actually help you reverse diabetes? I know, it's crazy, right? Well, if you or somebody you care about has diabetes or pre-diabetes or easy for me to say, metabolic syndrome, you've got to check out this video. It's free. You may have heard about this. People who've tried it say that they've been able to normalize their blood sugar, stop taking their diabetes meds, and their doctors are all for it. So what is it? What's behind this? Well, the company says it's a natural drug-free approach to reversing diabetes, and they say that it works in as little as 4 weeks, and it all starts with this one weird kitchen spice you probably have in your kitchen right now. So you should check out the free video and see for yourself. It's at WeirdSpice55.com. So write that down. It's WeirdSpice55.com. WeirdSpice55.com.
Mother's Day is right around the corner. If you haven't ordered Mother's Day flowers yet, visit proflowers.com for an amazing deal. Get 100 gorgeous blooms for mom with a free glass vase for $19.99. Her flowers are guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least one full week. The only way to get this incredible deal is to go to proflowers.com/radio right now and enter the code PLOW, P-L-O-W. That's proflowers.com/radio and enter code PLOW, P-L-O-W.
I'm David Cordani, President and CEO of Cigna. We're proud to support the March of Dimes by walking in the March for Babies. It feels great to know that the money we raise funds life-saving research and programs that improve the health of babies. With your help, we can make this year better than ever. Join Cigna and our coworkers across the country in March for Babies to help more moms have full-term pregnancies and healthier babies. Start your team today at marchforbabies.org and march to help our babies. Thank you.
Copblock.org/pivothead. To ensure that a record of the truth of police interactions exists and is accessible, we each need a film. That's why we're happy to announce the Accountability Through Transparency video contest, the winner of which will receive a pair of Pivot Head sunglasses. For more information and to submit your video entry, go to copblock.org/pivothead. 1. Document with a camera a police employee exhibiting double standards or the standards we expect them to live up to. This can be done while on foot, during a vehicle stop, while submitting an open records request, etc. 2. Upload your video to your YouTube channel. 3. Fill out the form at copblock.org/pivothead by the deadline of midnight Eastern Standard Time, May 23, 2014. 4. The winner, chosen by contest sponsors, will be notified by email, and the Pivot Head sunglasses will be shipped once a mailing address is received. Copblock.org/pivothead.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's posts pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. Facebook.freetalklive.com. MineThings.com is a fun online game that pits you against people around the world to mine for scarce resources. Do business in a capitalist economy with virtually mined gold, tax-free. It doesn't require a big time commitment. Your little mining robot guy works whether you're logged in or not. It costs nothing to play, but you can buy bonuses. They even accept bitcoins. Go to MineThings.com, use coupon code FTL, and double your mining speed. It's free. MineThings.com.
If you enjoy LRN.FM, please contribute to your favorite shows via their websites and become an amplifier at amp.lrn.fm. That's amp.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, here to take your calls about anything on this live Saturday edition. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. She's auctioning her virginity. $550,000 is the current bid. The bidding ends on the 7th, and you can follow the auction at Elizabeth-Raine, that's RAINE.com. She has revealed her face within the last few days. Not a bad-looking lady, and she's claiming she's never had sex at age 27. And will submit to medical examination as well as a lie detector test in order to prove to the high bidder that she's the real deal. You're welcome to share your thoughts with us here at 855-450-FREE about the Virgin auction. Ed in Syracuse. Ed, I have to say I was confused by what you were saying when we were in the last segment. Can you try again?
Yeah, Yes. I'll start again. I may not have went into it correctly, but I think in order for people to make sense of things scientifically now, things have to be deduced, and they can't be searched otherwise, other than just to take different pieces of information and then deduce for themselves what actually happens that makes sense and matters. One term I threw out there, synthetic telepathy. I like to call made-up telepathy, and it's all on Surveillance Issues website. A fantastic analysis and write up on that there.
On what exactly? Synthetic telepathy?
Can you describe what it is?
Yes. There was an invention mentioned to me before, quantum zeroid, that uses something like a maser waveform.
Quantum zeroid. Are you just talking nonsense?
No.
Did you call in to just say nonsense words and see if we would go along with you and act like, oh, yeah, okay.
Maser waveforms.
Tell me about it. You don't really believe in this stuff, do you?
Could have threw in neurophone.
I like neurophone.
You are just throwing out nonsense words, right? Is this a crank call?
Well, you have to do your own research. You have to.
All right, I'll get right on that.
Make sense. Yeah, sure.
Thanks for the call, Ed. Go look up the neurophone.
I don't know. He could be right.
He could be onto something. Yeah, who knows?
I have no idea.
All right, so let's go back to something everyone understands: sex. At least most everybody.
Sadly,
listening to the show. So
there ought to be a license.
The lady Elizabeth Rain is now that it may not be her real name, but she is putting her real face out now. So it may only be a matter of time before somebody at her medical school recognizes her. She's getting quite a bit of publicity at this moment. She says that she's open to kissing the winning bidder here. Again, she is selling her virginity. She believes that she might encounter somebody that she could fall in love with, but that it's unlikely. So I think that that's a pretty realistic perspective, that you're probably not going to fall in love with the man who walks through the door to take your virginity after having paid $500,000.
And she does have a rule against women, right? Like
that was the next thing I was going to say here, is that because you had wondered about that, Mark. And she, by the way, she does say she has a thing for older men and tall guys.
Yeah, that's what I'd say too if I was selling my virginity.
Those factors probably won't come into play for what is basically a business deal. She does say she's not interested in losing her virginity to another woman, no matter how financially lucrative the bid might be. She says, I'm straight. That would be out of my comfort zone. Wait a minute. So even though you've never had sex before, having sex for money for the first time is within your comfort zone?
I would love if she wasn't, in fact, a med school student and wasn't, in fact, like everything was just a lie and she's just a high-end call girl. That would really enjoy that.
Just working some guys for some money.
Yeah, just working an angle. So, but, this is the statement I would make is that I would say the majority of Americans have probably had sex with more than one person. And if you've had sex with, 3 or 4 or more people, you've probably had a sexual experience with somebody, like a person that it was not pleasurable to have sex with. You're like, whoa, I don't like this. And if that's the case, why not get paid $500,000 for it? Because everybody, many people have to learn this for themselves, that, in this world of serial monogamy that we live in this society, this culture, that's common. You're going to learn that, hey, this, there's some people I want to and some people I don't. And, there's triggers, the things that are good for me and things that aren't good for me.
Yeah, some people work, some people don't.
She's getting some feedback here, and she's getting paid for that feedback, which is more than you, my listener, can say.
It's certainly true. In order to circumvent U.S. laws prohibiting prostitution, Ms. Rain said the actual sex experience will take place in Australia, where it is legal.
So look, wait a second. Consider if you are a decision maker for a town, say a city council person or a mayor or something like that, you and your stupid law against prostitution is driving this woman to another country. She's got $500,000 to spend, and you won't let her in your town.
Yeah.
Now, who's the dumb one?
Well, again, what's wrong with what she's doing? I mean, does anybody actually think this is wrong? There was the lady who called in earlier.
She seemed to think it was ill-advised.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with her opinion.
So wait, are you saying you don't think she should do this?
Is this going to make her happy?
I don't think she cares about that. That's not her motivation.
You should. You should do the things that make you happy.
I think having $500,000 is going to help her with whatever her issues are. That
certainly could be happy. I'll admit,
paying off a student loan would make somebody happy. I think.
Paying off a student loan certainly makes one happy. I don't know. I mean, it really just depends.
Money doesn't define happiness, obviously, but
you've got to be able to detach yourself from the sex in some way, and if you can't, then you can't. Consider that it's all wrapped up in what goes on in your head, and if this doesn't go well, then it doesn't go well for her.
As much as Rain has been trying to control all the aspects of the Virgin auction, she realizes the quality of the actual sex is not something she can guarantee. She says there will be a legal contract between us. The winner may not be happy with the sex, but he knows what he's paying for. And I wonder what the details of that contract are. Is she just going to get up and leave after it's over, or do you get the night to snuggle?
I would think you would have to. I mean,
for $550,000, you would hope so.
But this is the thing: it's that problem with when to leave, because that's a problem whether you pay or not, right? Like if you're if you're
paying for a prostitute, it's not a problem.
Well, because she leaves,
right?
But consider that, like I've been in situations where I've had sex with somebody before we were sort of really good friends or anything like that. And the when do you leave thing is always very complicated. Do you leave before you go to sleep? Do you leave early in the morning before the person gets up? Do you, have some kind of meal? Is that meal prepared on site, or do you go out to some location? If you go out to some location, do you just split in cars from there? I mean, how do you do this?
I see where you're coming from.
It's really it's somewhat complicated, and it's a sticky situation, especially if you're like, I have a headache and I don't think this was the best decision I've ever made. And I mean, people have woken up like that before.
Well, I suspect this young lady will be negotiating those details in advance. She does have a contract she's going to lay out, so I imagine that whatever it is defined as, anything beyond that will be considered a bonus. By the
I would really feel empty inside having paid $500,000 for sex and not getting to sleep next to the person that I just had sex with.
I would agree with you.
That would make me feel really empty inside. Now,
I would feel the same way even if I hadn't paid the money. I mean, to me,
not having $500,000, I can really not access what it would be like to pay this kind of money. I can only sort of think, what would I do if I had like $1,000 spent on sex? That would be a huge amount of money for me to lay out, and assuming my wife didn't murder me when she found out about something like this. I just have to sort of do this, these mental gymnastics trying to figure this out, and I can't imagine. It seems hard to me to know how good I would feel at the end of this. Wow, I just paid $500 for that. I don't, of all the times I've had sex in my life, I don't think that any of them I'd say, that was worth $500.
Yeah, no way. And, to me, when it comes to after sex, I mean, I like the intimacy factor more than anything. I like snuggling a lot. And so I would also feel disappointed. Even if I wasn't paying for sex, I would feel disappointed if somebody got up right afterward and walked off.
Well, where would they go? Obviously, they're going to. You were here for the sex. They were here for the money. You got the sex. They've got the money. Goodbye.
Yeah.
And that's what the arrangement is.
Well, now you got the cuddle houses that are happening in different places around the country.
Those are fascinating. And politicians don't like those either.
No, they sure don't. They don't like anybody touching.
No touching. There will be no touching from the serfs.
No.
You may only touch with a legally binding government contract.
You can't be naked. You certainly can't touch somebody when they're naked. And even if they consent, and certainly they cannot collect money from you for that service of touching. Now, of course, the cuddle houses are not illegal. These are people who are getting paid to cuddle.
This is not legal advice.
It's my understanding they're not illegal. There was the one guy that got kind of put out of business because he just didn't want to deal with, I think it was Madison, Wisconsin, their government there. But they were just harassing him to death. Not necessarily that it was illegal what he was doing. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free number. We're continuing with Free Talk Live. Coming up.
There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info.
Geico presents a man who just saved on his motorcycle insurance.
First off, my name is Daryl. Second, this is no motorcycle. This monster is 1,100 cc's of raw internal combustion power.
Feel the ground shake!
Now, I know what you're thinking. Where's this science teacher's logical attitude that goes with his sensible sneakers? Well, Mr. Rains on my parade, I saved a bunch on motorcycle insurance with Geico. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some young minds that need molding.
Geico Motorcycle. See how much you could save.
Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges start a conversation with your neighbor or your doctor or your family or your school. Now there's teachers and lawyers and business executives, and they all wear shiny badges and they all reject the state. Shiny badges on your jacket. Shiny badges show the world that you reject coercion and aggression and oppression by the state. ShinyBadges.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Saturday, May 3rd, 2014. Silver is trading at $19.51 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,300 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $441. Antiwar.com reports, after claiming their military was helpless in the region, Ukrainian troops yesterday attacked the protester-held cities of Sloviansk and Kramatorsk in the northern part of the Donetsk Oblast. The two cities, just 10 miles apart, were hit about the same time, with reports of several militia checkpoints on the outskirts of the two hit in the beginning as the military tried to move in from multiple directions. Medics confirmed 1 protester killed and 9 wounded in Kramatorsk. Ukrainian's interim president bragged that many were killed in Sloviansk, though so far the confirmed death toll is only 3 people. 1 was a militia member and 2 were military pilots. The pilots were killed when militia members shot down 2 military helicopters. About 20 helicopters total were involved in the raid initially, though they withdrew after the shootdowns, one of which reportedly was hit by a missile. A third pilot was captured by protesters. Neither city was actually taken yesterday, and as of the end of the day, the troops never actually got into Kramatorsk and had withdrawn to the outskirts of Sloviansk as well. You've heard of ShinyBadges.com, but you need to check out the New Causes tab. Every item in that section includes a donation to a worthy liberty project, like the Free Ross Ulbricht Legal Defense Fund. So go to ShinyBadges.com, click on the New Causes tab, and get yourself a quality product that not only supports the cause you believe in, but starts a conversation with your neighbors. Plus, get a free gift when you pay with Bitcoin at ShinyBadges.com. AFP reports the Palestinian Authority has signed up formally to the Geneva Conventions, which set down the rules of warfare and humanitarian operations in conflict zones, the treaty's guardian Switzerland confirmed on Friday. The Swiss Foreign Ministry spokesman told AFP that the Palestinian Authority had declared itself party to the convention on April 2nd. The step is part of a new diplomatic drive by Mahmoud Abbas, the Palestinian president, coming as peace talks with Israel are close to collapse. The Palestinians had pledged to freeze all moves to seek membership in UN organizations and international conventions, a stepping stone to recognition of their hoped-for state during the talks in return for Israel's release of veteran Arab prisoners. Israel has meanwhile made a new bid to expand settlements in annexed Arab Jerusalem. The Palestinians have also submitted requests to the United Nations to join 13 other international conventions and treaties, and the world body said Thursday that the move was legal. FPP Radio News is brought to you by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage. For over 35 years, Roberts & Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They now take Bitcoin for purchasing precious metals so you can turn your profits into a long-term investment. Call Roberts & Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing. 800-874-9760. CNET reports an 8-person jury on Friday handed back a mixed verdict in the Apple v. Samsung patent infringement cases, determining that both companies were guilty in some aspects, but not guilty in others. The jury found all of Samsung's accused gadgets infringed Apple's Quick Links patent, but that none infringed on the Universal Search patent or the Background Sync patent. Results were mixed on the Slide to Unlock patent, which some Samsung devices, such as the Galaxy Nexus, found to infringe and others found not to. The jury awarded Apple $119.6 million for Samsung's infringements, much less than the $2.2 billion it had requested. Meanwhile, the jury also determined that Apple infringed on Samsung's patent for photo and video organization in folders and awarded the company $158,400. Samsung had accused Apple of infringing 2 patents and asked for damages of $6.2 million. The jury will return Monday at 9 a.m. to reconsider one of the damages figures. It awarded Apple no damages for one version of the Galaxy S2, but Apple believes it should be awarded some money for Samsung's infringement on the automatic word correction patent. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Thank you, Jode. I appreciate you taking up this issue.
Berto, if a man ain't cooked crisp on the Hellfire Desert, ain't he ought to be left on his own?
Well, right, Jode. Immigrants are desperate for a better way of life.
We need the strongest of these crude backward browns to keep us all alive. I see the ones that can swim the Rio Grande, too. Berto, you swum that border river to get here, ain't you?
Jode, not all Mexicans came here by swimming the Rio Grande.
No. I got sympathy. I crossed Huron Lake in the barrel myself using hands as paddles. Lived off the carp. What jumped at me? Now, you swum that river, ain't you?
Jode, actually, I was born here.
What you know about hard work? Ain't never swum no river.
Many immigrants,
I say you ain't never knowed a man till you seen his teeth. Show him your teeth. Too many teeth rotting out shows you're dishonest in the mind. You got strong manful teeth, Barto. I apologize.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live. We're launching into the second hour of the program. You are invited to take control of the airwaves and bring up whatever's on your mind. On the way here tonight, if we get a chance, we'll talk about infidelity. Since we're talking about sex, might as well talk about infidelity, people cheating, and what it is that people believe about that. Men and women, they say, have very different views on it, according to a study. We'll tell you more about that. Your calls welcome.
I'm already skeptical. Go ahead.
Whatever's on your mind. The toll-free number, 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, and Skype into the show at username LRN.FM. We go to the phones first. Talk to Eric, listening in Virginia Beach. You're on Free Talk Live. Eric.
Hey, how are you doing, guys?
Welcome, Eric. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I was fairly new to your program. I was wanting to move to New Hampshire. I guess you're a bunch of people that want to be free in New Hampshire. I'd love to get to New Hampshire, but I need a realtor to do that as well, and a good place to live.
Great.
Well, I would recommend, not that you don't need a realtor, but I would probably recommend renting before you buy. I mean, this housing market, buying isn't the most optimum thing to do anyway, and so you want to know where you'd want to live.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up, Eric, because we were going to talk about the Free State Project at some point tonight, and that's what you're calling about. You're calling about the idea of moving 20,000 people together who want to be more free, who are willing to actually do something to accomplish that freedom. That's the idea behind the Free State Project was, hey, let's get these libertarian types all into the same geographic area so we can actually have an effect on things. Because usually, libertarians are like the lone wolf crying in the wilderness and no one seems to care. But when we can get all those people together, it makes a big difference. That's what we've found so far. And Mark and I are early movers to New Hampshire as part of the Free State Project. There are over 15,000 people who are signed up for the Free State Project who are pledged to make the move. And over 1,500 are already here as early movers. We're having a big impact. There are people getting elected. There's bad laws that have been repealed. There's, good laws that have been passed.
There's basically a libertarian veto in place in the New Hampshire House.
It could serve to be strengthened some, but yes. More so than any other state, that's for sure. So, Eric, have you gone to freestateproject.org yet?
I'm on there right now.
Fine idea. And as far as buying a house, we actually have a sponsor, Mark Warden. He's the Porcupine Realtor, and he does a great job. You can go to his website, which I believe is porcupinerealtor.com, if I am not mistaken. And Mark is a Free State Project participant. He is a 2 or 3-time state representative, and he is the highest rated Liberty State Representative. There's actually a rating system that the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance puts out on a yearly basis, and Mark has won the award for the most liberty-oriented rep in two years, actually, or 2 terms, which is an amazing feat.
Can you repeat that, sir?
Mark Warden, he's the Porcupine Realtor. Just look for
Mark
Warden. Porcupine Realtor. Now, the porcupine is the mascot of the Free State Project.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Thank you.
Remember
he had to change it from Realtor, right?
Yeah, Realtor because of something to do with the Realtor folks.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. Eric, we wish you the best, and come on up for PorcFest if you get a chance. The Porcupine Freedom Festival is coming up this June 22nd through the 29th. That's a great experience to come on up and be around hundreds of people, over 1,500 people there last year, who love the ideas of freedom. Most of the people visiting the Porcupine Freedom Festival are brand new to New Hampshire. They've never come up here before, and it's just so exciting to be around people who actually care about freedom. I appreciate your call and the thoughts here tonight.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah,
hey,
no
you guys
problem,
have a
Eric.
great night.
Thank you. You too. Enjoy the weekend. And again, porcfest.com, PORCFEST. We will be there broadcasting live.
Certainly.
Which I'm very excited about. Every year, it's so much fun to just come on out and basically it's kind of like taking a week off, although I try to get some work done during the daytime. There's some semblance of an internet connection available.
The condition
there.
I've seen you at PorcFest, I'd hate to think you were doing anything that looked like work.
I make some phone calls during the day there at the Porcupine Freedom
Really?
Festival.
You talk to our program directors in that condition?
I'm fine when you wake up in the morning at the Porcupine Freedom Festival.
You mean when you go to sleep in the morning?
It's certainly true. There's been a few times where I've stayed up
Speaking
all night.
as a family man, it's a wonderful place to take your kids, believe it or not. Just because there's people like Ian skulking about doesn't mean that it's not a great family event.
No, it absolutely is a great event for anybody that attends. You will not be disappointed. If you love freedom, that is. If you hate freedom, you should stay away from the Porcupine Freedom Festival, or you will drive yourself insane. Because there are so many people that are engaging in freedom-oriented things, selling products, food, and services, and devices without government permission. That goes on fairly frequently at the Porcupine Freedom Festival. There are individuals that are openly consuming cannabis, which is just a wonderful thing to see, and all manner of other fun stuff. So go and check it out at porcfest.com. We go to James. He's in Arizona. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, James.
Permission to speak freely, Ian?
I don't know why you'd be asking for permission. You're on a radio show where you can call in about anything.
I want to say that I can think, because then I should like to say that I can't think of anything more boring than hearing two dudes talk about sex on the radio and their picadillos and all that. But I have some advice for you, Ian, before I ask Mark a question. You there, Mark?
We're listening, Whit.
Mark, I asked Ian the same question about what should a cop be allowed to do when he pulls over somebody for obviously driving erratically and who is obviously high, what should they be allowed to do with that driver? And I should like to respond to you and give you Ian's fascinating answer to the same question.
I want to be clear what you mean by high. I want to be clear what you mean by high.
Okay, you know what? Smoking bud.
Okay, so
and obviously he's been smoking a lot of it and is driving erratically. What should the cop be allowed to do with him?
I would think that if a person was on the road and they were intoxicated, that and they're dangerous to other people, that you would, I guess you'd pull the car over, you'd impound it, you'd take the person to a holding cell and let them sleep it off. That would be my thought.
Okay, I agree with you up until the end. I would also charge them with driving recklessly, or if not driving inebriated, and have them get in a lot of trouble for endangering civilized society. Now, Ian just wanted to say that the cop should give him a ride home, which means that a person can endanger civilized society with a 2,000-ton vehicle and get off scot-free. And
there need to be consequences to if you want to dissuade an action, then you have to have consequences against that action, sadly. Now, I'm of the opinion that...
Right, because DUI charges really stop people from driving drunk.
They stop some people from driving drunk at some point or another. I can tell you I have a good friend who got 2 DUIs. He moved to New York City and hasn't driven a car since. So, yes, in that case, it certainly did work.
And I know countless people who've had DUI after DUI.
I'm not saying there's not a better system.
Right.
Look, I think that I think that the legal... I think that the root of the problem is zoning laws, frankly. It used to be that there would be bars and bars within staggering distance of people's homes because people would have these public houses is what they called them. But then as zoning laws matured inside municipalities, they began to push these things into certain zones, and then people had to drive. We live in a culture where one has to locomote in a combustion engine, basically, in order to get around. And
right on, Mark. Can I ask you a follow-up question?
All right.
Because Ian said again that the cop should, that he calls him a peace officer, should give the person a ride home. So I was just thinking, Ian, what if that peace officer, while they were giving a pothead a ride home that was driving erratically before he got pulled over and put in a squad car, what if your significant other was getting maybe brutally raped, or maybe your kid was getting raped by a person that the cop was driving in the other direction away from your house while giving a pothead a ride home? Do you now think that maybe you want to reconsider calling him?
No, not at all.
That's kind of ludicrous because the fact is that even if they give him a ride home or they give him a ride to jail, they're still busy, right?
Thanks for the call, James. Appreciate hearing from you tonight. No, look. Cops have two-way radios, and there's priorities when it comes to being a police officer. If a police officer was giving a drunken or stoned person a ride home, and by the way, police used to give people rides home.
They still do it. It's just
driving.
They do it to the people that they want to do it to, and they don't do it to the people they don't want to do it to.
If a call comes across the radio, all points bulletin, there's just been a rape, or there's a rape in progress, or bank robbery in progress, or something like that.
Staggering your butt home.
The officer will likely, if there's no other officers in the region, will probably respond to that and just tell you to chill out. Tell the person in their car to hang on. Got to deal with something. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. You take control.
Everybody wants to know, what can you buy with Bitcoins? Isn't there like a Bitcoin general store or something? Well, yes, now there is, and it's at BitcoinGeneralStore.com. BitBrew and the Bees Brothers have teamed up to create a place where U.S. customers in the lower 48 can shop for, well, anything with free shipping. What can you find at BitcoinGeneralStore.com? Bitcoin apparel, stickers, gifts, precious metals, physical Bitcoins, coffee and honey, of course, and electronics and computer accessories. The folks at Bitcoin General Store are true Bitcoin believers who don't even use third-party payment processors. They get their inventory direct with Bitcoin and pass on the savings to you. Shop at BitcoinGeneralStore.com with confidence that you are supporting a real Bitcoin economy. You gotta see what they have to offer. Visit BitcoinGeneralStore.com today. That's BitcoinGeneralStore.com.
Adam Miller here with Midas Resources. Today, April 21st, 2014, gold opened at $12.98.80. A 1-ounce gold coin can be purchased for $13.46, $6.73 for a half ounce, or $3.36.50 for a quarter ounce. That's $13.46, $6.73, and $3.36.50.
Hi, this is Ted Anderson. Have you ever wondered why banks, stockbrokers, investment advisors won't talk about gold IRAs? Wait a sec. Gold and silver is going up while Congress is trying to settle on the next debt increase. And there's no end to this madness. That old 401k and IRA can be converted into physical gold without tax consequences. I explained this in my book, 10 Reasons to Buy Gold. Don't let time slip away. Call for your free copy today, 800-686-2237. Get away from that Washington spin and get honest answers about gold. 800-686-2237. The book is free, 800-686-2237.
Following reports earlier today that Indiana University freshman Lawrence Plotnick's roommate Brian Tabor has found an excuse to go home every weekend since August, Plotnick spoke to Onion reporters about his roommate's frequent trips to his nearby hometown of Terre Haute, Indiana.
Every week since we got here, it seems like every time I ask him if he wants to hang out on Friday, he has some wedding or birthday party or something. In fact, I'm pretty sure he hasn't spent a single Friday or Saturday night on campus in the past 6 months.
Plotnick went on to cite a variety of far-ranging excuses used by his roommate to justify his constant visits home, including various family functions, a visiting friend from China, as well as his occasional desire to, quote, just hang out at home for a couple of days.
I mean, I suppose I vaguely understood when he had to go back in November because his best friend's grandfather died, but last weekend he had to go back for his aunt and uncle's wedding anniversary. He said he couldn't miss it.
This is the Onion News Network.
DVD, books, music, instruments, periodicals, computers, software, electronics, photo, cell phones, office products, home and garden, bed and bath, furniture, kitchen, pet supplies, automotive, hardware, apparel, shoes, jewelry, grocery, healthcare, sports and outdoors, toys, games, used, and more. It's a department store at your fingertips. Shop.freetalklive.com. Get all your shopping done, get a great deal, and a portion of your purchase goes to benefit Free Talk Live when you enter Amazon via shop.freetalklive.com.
Did you know coffee is the second most absorbent crop on Earth? Most coffee at grocery stores or in chains contains banned pesticides and has a high mold content. Seriously, we're proud to partner with Camano Island Coffee Roasters to provide the best of the best coffee, BuzzBox Coffee. Try a free pound today. You cover shipping. 10% of future purchases benefit our efforts to give the gift of human freedom throughout the world. At least 100 World Vision microfinance loans. For more information, go to coffee.freetalklive.com.
You can watch the LRN Studio Cam and chat with other listeners anytime at cam.lrn.fm. That's cam.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, bring up anything here on the live Saturday edition of the program. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Don't forget, you can join us online at freetalklive.com. Now, if you are online and not yet aware, allow me to clue you in about your privacy. Turns out, if you're using a regular old internet service provider, as probably everybody is, you have no privacy because your internet service provider is probably snooping on every website you visit. Every search term you enter, it's all being logged, in some cases for as many as 5 years. What can you do to stop that? You can go right now to proxpn.com/FTL, download the app for your operating system, whether it's Windows, Macintosh, or Android or iOS devices. There's even instructions for Linux users that are available. You have to email their support department to get them. But whatever operating system you're on, you can get ProXPN started and protect yourself by encrypting your data, encrypting everything that leaves your computer so your ISP will no longer know what you're doing online. And ProXPN, unlike your ISP, does not log your internet browsing habits, so you have privacy protection when you load up with ProXPN. Go to proxpn.com/FTL. Now, you can start with a free account just to test the waters, see what it's like. But you're going to want to upgrade because with the paid account, the premium account, for which you can get for $5 a month with our discount code I'll give you in a moment, the paid account, you get unlimited bandwidth. You get to choose the server around the world that you want to connect to. So I like the Netherlands server because it gives you the most privacy protection when, for instance, maybe you want to do private torrenting, which you can do with ProXPN. You can't do it with a free account, but with a paid account, you can privately torrent. Netherlands is the best place to do that because they've got the best privacy protections in the world for that sort of thing. So go to proxpn.com/FTL. You can get started there, and it's an amazing deal, especially when you use our discount code FTL20. That gets you 20% off of the lifetime of your account. That's FTL20 is the code. The website, proxpn.com/FTL. There's a risk-free 7-day money-back guarantee. You have nothing to lose but your privacy. So go to proxpn.com/FTL. Code FTL20. As we go to Joe, he's in Kentucky. Joe, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian and Mark.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Just great, Joe. Go ahead with your thoughts. And we're getting some bad talk back. I don't know if you're on a speakerphone or something.
Yeah, I have you on speaker here. Hold on, I'll take you off.
I certainly appreciate that. It can be really disorienting to hear yourself talking back to yourself. Sounding much better now. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, all right. I've been listening to you guys for about 3 weeks now, and I have to say I agree with a lot of the stuff that you guys talk about. I mean, when my grandfather was a fireman, I remember my dad telling me many times that the police would bring him home because he was too drunk to drive home. But my main question here is the Free State Project. Say I wanted to get something like that started in Kentucky. What would be some steps? I like
give
the
up.
cop block.
Step one, give up.
Notification. I love all that.
Well, here's what I would say is that the Free State Project is unique, and what it does is it proposes to pull liberty-loving individuals from all over the world into one place. So what you do is you're putting yourself into direct competition with, so far, the most successful liberty migration project in the history of man.
Well, and there have been many imitators
And
as well.
I actually run a Facebook page called the Move Here Project, where I chronicle the rise and fall of many dozens of these projects, throughout recent decades, but mostly very modern ones. There's somebody's always proposing, I really love this idea, but I just can't move away from mom or my job or whatever it is that they want to do. And so they say, you know what, people should come where I live because that would be awesome. And the difficulty with that is that if you look at the Mercatus Center's ranking of freest places, you will not find Kentucky in the top 5, whereas you will find New Hampshire in the 4 times that they've rated it. You'll find 5 times, 4 or 5 times they've rated it. They've been in the top 5 every time, and they've been number 1 3 times. So you're already taking the freest state. Now, you're also, if you look at the Free the World charts, you'll see that the United States is among the top 15 freest nations in the world, or at least among the top 20. And you take the freest state in one of the freest nations, and you've got a pretty reasonably free place. And so we're already starting from a pretty good place, and we've got a 10-year jump, more than 10-year jump on every other location. So I would say that competition to the Free State Project is ill-advised.
So if you don't mind, Joe, I'd like to answer the question.
How about your cop block and your jury nullification? I would love to inform people here where I live, I would love to go to the courthouse and hand out pamphlets and tell them not to take the plea deals and to.
I think it's exciting, Joe, that you're inspired and interested in doing some of this activism that we do here in New Hampshire. And one of the goals, I think, for my activism is I want to do things that are duplicatable, things that anybody can do. And I think that what you're talking about there, going to a courthouse, handing out information, encouraging people to not take a plea, or encouraging people to jury nullify, to vote their conscience as a juror, these are all things that you can do with relatively small amount of money to print out flyers and a fairly small investment in time. I would never tell somebody don't do activism where you currently are. If this is something that you feel driven to do, then Goddess bless you. Go ahead and do it and give it your best. But a couple of words of.
Is there some way that a website of yours that I could go look at
Why, yes, there is. So start with tools.freekeen.com. You go to tools.freekeen.com. Free Keen's my blog site. We chronicle some of the activism going on here in New Hampshire. And on the tools page, you'll find some downloadable flyers that might give you the Don't Take a Plea Deal one you can print out. There's actually a national version. When we did the Don't Take the Plea Deal flyer, we made one flyer version specifically for outside of New Hampshire and the other for inside of New Hampshire. So it's sitting there. You're welcome to download it, send it to your favorite printer, get it printed out, and hit the streets. There's also copblock.org. You mentioned Copblock. They have chapters all across the United States. I don't know what level of existence they have in Kentucky, but there's a map when you go to copblock.org. I think it's like called chapters or affiliates or something like that. You go there and you can find a list and see if maybe there's already something in Louisville or wherever it is that you might be.
I live in rural Kentucky. I'm about 80 miles from Louisville.
Okay, so probably not going to be too many cop blockers out there, considering that in a lot of bigger cities, there's usually only a handful.
You're right. That's why I want to be the one to do it here. That's why I want to get people involved here. They're getting bullied.
Yes, they are.
Run over. They're getting bullied.
Now, that's one of the things that I really want to give you thanks for and appreciation, because what you're talking about doing here is sticking your head above the water. And whether you're in a big city or in a small town, the people who are the bullies, as you pointed out, are not going to appreciate that very much, and they may very well target you for some form of retaliation.
They're going to call you bad and wrong.
On my back already.
They're going to call you un-American. They're going to call you every name. They're going to tell you to get a job. They're going to do a variety of things in order to tell you to sit back down and shut up.
Joe, I've got a couple more suggestions. If you want to hang on, we'll bring you back here. Joe wants to get involved in doing things where he is, and there are some good ideas and some bad ideas, so we'll share them coming up in moments on Free Talk Live.
Springtime is save big time at Herbal Healer Academy. Long-term customers know spring is the time to stock up at herbalhealer.com. And for new customers, welcome to the web's best place to save on vitamins, minerals, and more. Log on for spring specials, including our 500 parts per million colloidal silver, all sizes on sale. Choose from Herbal Healer's great variety of weight loss products like apple cider vinegar, Hoodia and Metabolic Complex, and Pro-Metabolic, all on sale now. Also, the Anti-Parasite Intestinal Freedom and Warwood Plus Complex, plus Stevia Liquid Sweetener and the Super Enzymes, all on sale for spring at herbalhealer.com. As always, we offer certificate correspondence courses in natural medicine. Enjoy same-day shipping and free online newsletter. Log on now to herbalhealer.com and click on Spring Specials to save big with our nation's leader in supplying quality natural medicine and education since 1988, Herbal Healer Academy.
What if the key to achieving liberty in your lifetime was to move together with others who think like you? Liberty activists are joining the Free State Project, which is over 70% of the way to its goal of 20,000 participants. And they're already making the move to New Hampshire. The successes are piling up and are proving the Free State Project is a real movement and no longer just a great idea. When you're planning your move, consider Keene. Keene is famous for its civil disobedience and non-cooperation, and there's plenty of political opportunity as well. From demonstrations and vigils to outreach and volunteering, there's a lot going on in Keene. Keene is the liberty media capital of the world, with television, talk radio, and more, all originating here. Though it's more than just activism, with regular social events each week. See what's happening at freekeene.com and get connected with video, audio, free books, a forum, and activist tools you can download and use in your area at freekeene.com. That's freekeene.com.
Meowbit is free software from the Freedom Fiends that allows you to effortlessly view .bit websites. Meowbit works on all browsers. .bit is a new type of web address that's not controlled by any government or corporation. And we'll show you how to register a .bit domain today using a few cents worth of Namecoin. If anyone ever shuts down your .com website, users will still be able to get to your site using your .bit address in our free software, Meowbit. Go to meowbit.com. That's meowbit.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. It's my firm belief that Free Talk Live's AMP program is the best use of your charitable dollar among liberty-oriented organizations. Support all the organizations you love, but make sure you give $5 a month to AMP at amp.freetalklive.com.
A congressman recently revealed that legislation totaling 2,900 pages and involving more than $1 trillion was available to members of Congress for less than 48 hours to study and consider. That's over 60 pages of legislation per hour. Do you think anyone read the entire bill? I'm Jim Babka with DownsizeDC.org. Consider a proposal buried in a 3,200-page, $388 billion bill, which would have empowered committee chairmen or their agents to examine Americans' tax returns. When this horrible provision came to light, no one claimed to know how it got into the bill. One congressman questioned said, "I didn't write it, I didn't approve it, I wasn't even consulted." If your attorney represented you this way, he might be disbarred. But this is how Congress represents you every day. That's why DownsizeDC.org has created the Read the Bills Act. You can force Congress to read their bills before they pass them at DownsizeDC.org.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition. We'll take your calls about anything here, toll free, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And you can join us on Skype. Our Skype username is LRN.FM. Getting started with activism. We've got an excited person on the line. We'll talk about some of the do's and don'ts here in moments.
But here's a definite do. Mother's Day is coming up. Do get a gift.
That's like a duh.
Yeah, if your mother is still with us, you know, it's Mother's Day, and don't mess this up. It is next weekend, and this may be your last opportunity. So go to proflowers.com, click on the blue microphone in the upper right-hand corner, enter FTL. There you'll be presented with some deals. One of these deals, the one that I think is very impressive, is the dozen rainbow roses in a free glass vase for $20. It's $19.99 for a dozen rainbow roses. Now they come with the preservative, the water, the flower
That's
preservative.
Food.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And they have 2 packets, so it really keeps them going. They come direct from their growers, so they last longer than other flowers potentially.
Is there not a guarantee? I believe
There is a guarantee. There is freshness guarantee that they have, and you can go read the specifics at proflowers.com. You can go bigger, and I think this is a really great opportunity. For another $10, you'll get double the flowers, a premium glass vase, and chocolates. So for $30, you can have this big, beautiful arrangement with the chocolates delivered to your mom. You can do it on Mother's Day. You can do it before Mother's Day. You can do it the Monday after, have it delivered to the office so that she has everybody can see it. It's a really great opportunity. Use coupon code FTL to get this special deal. You go to proflowers.com, click on the microphone in the upper right, and it's FTL there.
The shipping cost varies depending on when you want them delivered. You want to have them delivered on Mother's Day or the day before or whenever. You can select that with ProFlowers. Makes it really nice, very custom, and don't wait. You don't want the roses to run out. Of course, there are other pretty flowers as well. So if mom's not into roses, you get all kinds of different deals when you type in the code FTL at proflowers.com. Let's go back to Joe in Kentucky. Joe, you said you've been listening to the show. You've been liking Free Talk Live. You wish the Free State Project were happening in Kentucky. It's not, unfortunately. In fact, Kentucky wasn't even one of the 10 candidate states when we were voting on what the early movers were voting on which state they were choosing. Too populous. There's too many people living there, so the idea was we wanted to go to a place where there weren't as many people so as to have a bigger effect. But if you can't move for whatever reason to New Hampshire and you still feel like you got to do something where you are, there are some things that you can do, and you can do them relatively alone, but that's the number one thing I would recommend against is doing these things alone. You are living in a...
show the other night and listened to you at the courthouse with your co-host there, when you were upstairs doing the jury nullification and he was downstairs doing the cop block. I listened to that episode.
Yeah, so if you're alone, there's a good chance you're going to get picked on by the police. And if you're alone and there's no video, and even if you have video, they can still take your camera from you and break it, and there's some. It's a pretty risky thing to do activism like cop blocking, which is holding police accountable with video cameras, and or going to a courthouse and handing out jury information. It's almost a guarantee that if you go to any courthouse and stand outside and hand out information, someone with a badge is likely going to come out and inquire of you. Now, here in New Hampshire, when they've inquired, they've, said okay, and they've turned around and gone back in. But usually we have more than one person there doing this sort of thing. And the New Hampshire police are a little bit more low-key than, for instance, some of the cops I've dealt with down in Florida, where I'm originally from. So the most important thing I can tell you is I hope you can find somebody to do this stuff with you, because that's, to me, the number one factor as to whether or not you're likely. The more people you have, I think the safer you are, the less likely you are to get framed for something and arrested falsely and, threatened or harmed by the police. So that's...
It's already happened. It's already happened.
Right. That's probably part of what's motivating you, right?
Right.
Well, part of the things, but no, really, you guys have really inspired me. I've been listening for about 3 weeks, maybe a month, and I agree with 85 to 95% of the
it's pretty
stuff
good.
You guys say, and I'm stoked. I hope that you guys, I have pretty deep roots here in Kentucky right now, but the way the economy is going, I have a farm, and they're tearing farmers up. They are tearing farmers up, and so if it gets to the point, I'm there, boys. I'm there.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you've got a little bit of time this summer, come on up to the Porcupine Freedom Festival and get a taste of what it's like to actually have a community of people that care about freedom and are willing to back each other up. It makes a huge difference. And the reason why I moved to New Hampshire is because I was sick of doing activism alone, or what was next to alone. I mean, there were a handful of people who would help out. Every now and then I'd drag you out, Mark, down in Florida. And
you were alone.
There really weren't very many people willing to do anything. And the longer you do activism, the more frustrating it really becomes, and the more, I think, attractive someplace like New Hampshire, a real destination where people are coming and gathering together. Go to porkfest.com. And Joe, yes, sir?
Hey, let me tell you one last thing, guys. Mark, Ian, like I say, you've really inspired me. When you go home tonight and you're laying there and you're wondering, have you reached anybody? You have.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I know that I'm reaching people, and I had somebody compliment me today on the streets of Keene as I was getting petition signatures to oppose proposed parking rate increase in downtown Keene. Thank you. I appreciate your call. And Joe, keep us in the loop. Let us know when you head out on the streets, and let us know what your experience is like, because I imagine a lot of people are out there listening, and they've wanted to do the same thing, but maybe just haven't brought themselves to do it yet. Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you, sir. Let's go to Benjamin. He's somebody that's got some experience at doing activism nearly alone. Luckily, he has a brother who has done some of it with him in California. Benjamin Bartholomew on the line from Yuba City. Hey, Ben.
Hey, and actually, I'm really excited because you're going to be coming to a local radio station, I guess, starting tonight.
That's right. Yeah, I think we're on 8 to 10 at night Pacific time in Yuba City on Saturday and Sunday nights.
Yep, so that's exciting. But I wanted to talk to you guys about a little piece of activism I've been doing lately. And I know Mark thinks it's silly, but I thought maybe some others out there might grasp onto it and use it themselves.
All right,
and that is, normally I answer the phone something to the effect of, good evening, how can I help you?
Is this your personal cellular phone?
My cell phone, the family's home phone.
Gotcha.
I know my mom's doing the same thing with her cell phone and voicemail message. But I've changed it a little bit to something along the lines of, good evening, this phone call is being monitored by the National Security Agency. How may I help you?
And by the way, I was simply amused when I had to leave a message. I think that's, use 2 seconds. It's a commercial, essentially, for your thoughts. I think it's fine.
It might make somebody go, huh? And
that's mostly what I've gotten.
Yeah.
But it spurred conversations with people. They're like, what are you talking about? And I go, well, haven't you watched the news recently? The National Security Agency is recording all of our phone calls. It's a good conversation starter.
And people don't know, right? Like, how many people are aware of that?
I thought everybody knew, but of the people who have called here and called my cell phone, like 50%, and that's probably because I've talked to them, to the others about it before. But it also has an added benefit. Maybe you're not interested in getting conversations with people, but there's an added benefit, and that is a lot of the people who call are telemarketers. And when you answer the phone, this phone call is being monitored by the National Security Agency, they hang up. And they don't want to talk to you. They're just like, okay, well, I'm gonna do something else then, apparently. So it's
crazy people don't buy my products, so I'm not going to talk to
you. Maybe that's what they think.
Crazy if they're actually out to get you.
I know, that's the thing.
So I just thought I might offer that. Other people might take that and use it.
Thank you, Benjamin.
They might want to use.
Question for you as kind of an experienced on the streets activist. What sort of suggestion, tips, cautions would you want to share with somebody who's a brand new to doing activism? When somebody wants to go out and hit the streets and cop block or hand out flyers?
Everything, and if you can, stream it live.
Yeah, it's a decent suggestion.
Yeah, that's the best suggestion.
Hey, thanks, Benjamin. I appreciate hearing from you, and we'll come back with more here in moments at 8:55, 450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Mother's Day is right around the corner. If you haven't ordered your Mother's Day flowers yet, make sure to visit proflowers.com for an amazing deal. ProFlowers has a Mother's Day special for radio listeners. Get 100 gorgeous blooms for Mom with a free glass vase for $19.99. And if you want to make her day even more special, upgrade to a premium vase and add gourmet chocolates for just $9.99 more. Mom will be so happy when she unwraps her beautiful bouquet of blooms, guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least one full week. Each time she looks at her Mother's Day flowers, she'll think of you. But hurry, this deal expires soon, so make sure to place your order today. The only way to get this incredible deal is to go to proflowers.com/radio right now and enter the code PLOW, P-L-O-W, proflowers.com/radio, code PLOW, P-L-O-W. That's proflowers.com/radio and enter code PLOW, P-L-O-W.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
You can listen to Free Talk Live on the radio, podcast, satellite, webcam, and our live streams. But did you know you can listen to Free Talk Live from any phone, anywhere? Add this number to your phone, 213-493-0308. It's a long-distance call, so make sure you're familiar with your phone's calling plan. The listen lines are airing the latest episode of Free Talk Live 24 hours a day, including our live shows. Call 213-493-0308. That's 213-493-0308. Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in 2013 and charged with victimless crimes in relation to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road black market. He has been in a prison cell awaiting trial ever since. If he did it, he's a hero for making the black market a safer place. If he did not, he's a man wrongfully accused. Either way, if you love freedom and want to end the war on drugs, Ross and his family need your support. You can learn more and help fund his defense at freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
While our satellite channel is free to listen to, it's not free for us. You can help us cover our satellite costs with the chip-in on the right side of the page at lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, bring up what you want here on this live Saturday edition. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We happen to be talking about activism at the moment, not because we brought that topic in, but because you could call in and bring up anything you want, and some of our callers did, talking about some things that one could do to get started where one lives, doing things like Cop Block. You can go to copblock.org to learn more about those folks.
Well, CopBlock is holding police officers and other government employees accountable with video cameras, essentially.
Cop blocking is specifically holding police accountable, but yes, I think it's generally a good idea to hold all government employees accountable by recording interactions with them.
Well, sadly, many times what those folks say, whether it's police or other government bureaucrats, what they say matters dramatically to whatever the occurrence was. It's a big deal for you in your life. So
yeah, they're usually trying to hurt you.
Well, they can be. You never know. I mean, I've had plenty of great interactions with police officers, but there are people that have had terrible ones, and there's plenty of videos on YouTube and other all over the internet to prove it.
So you're welcome to share your thoughts on, what's a good level of advice you'd give to somebody who's brand new to doing activism. What are some tips, some suggestions, some cautionary statements? 855-450-FREE. Coming up, men and women, different views on infidelity, says a study. We'll tell you about that. But first, let's go to the phones and to your calls and thoughts. Dave's in California. You're on Free Talk Live, Dave.
Hey, guys. On the topic of activism,
yes,
And I much appreciate your show and your callers. You're getting some very intelligent ones. I share most everything I'm hearing. One of the things people I hear often asking, what can I do? What can little old me do if so much is so wrong, if the government's going so corrupt and all? What can I do to stand? And I'm active with one group that's located in most towns all across the country. That's the Veterans for Peace, and we stand with our signs trying to oppose a lot of the wrongs.
That's a good one. They've been doing protests here vigils or something like that, anti-war vigils in Keene, New Hampshire.
Going on 2 decades.
The 1980s.
Every Friday evening at 5 o'clock in most towns it's happening, and also as a group called themselves the Ladies in Black. And you don't have to be a veteran. People say, well, I don't think I could stand with you guys because I never had a rifle. I was never on a battlefield. All the more reason, come join us and stand with us, because if you had the good sense not to get out there, most of us had to learn the hard way that we were out there in a battle killing people for what reason? So Standard Oil or Lockheed Martin or
the glory of some politician. Dave, great call, great suggestion. Thanks for making it. Appreciate hearing from you tonight. Those guys they're doing good work, the Veterans for Peace.
I go stand with the Peace Vigil on Saturday mornings is where it is.
Here in Keene,
New Hampshire. And it's one of the longest running police vigils longest running peace vigils in the country.
Let's go to Jim. He's in Lynchburg listening to WLNI on the FM band. Hey, Jim.
Hey, guys. Love your show.
Welcome.
I can't agree with you a really high percentage because you two argue with each other a lot. But
sure.
I really enjoyed it. One thing you want to consider if you're going to be an activist is watch out to make sure the authorities don't threaten to take your kids.
Oh, yeah.
What I was calling about is the Justina Peltier case up there in Connecticut and Massachusetts.
I'm not familiar with it. Can you recap that?
Let us know.
Oh, yeah, sure. Real briefly, she had a strange disease. Her parents had her at Tufts University Hospital. It's really, really highly rated. The doctor transferred to Boston. I can't remember the Harvard Hospital in Boston, which is world renowned. Kid was having problems. They take her to Boston. They say, let's see her specialist that's been seeing her. In jumps an internist, 7 years out of medical school, and an activist psychologist who wrote a book on some disease that is basically it's all in your mind.
Munchausen?
A mental disorder.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Something like that. It's a new thing, and it's not even in the books yet. It's not even officially a diagnosis. But it was her thing, and so she jumps in and goes, yeah, that's what you've got. Here's the new plan. We're going to stop all of her medical interventions that, big doctors at Tufts have been doing, and we're going to put her in the psych ward. So the parents say, no, we're going to take her to the doctor we came here for. They go to the courts, which they have a person in the hospital. They have the Department of Child and Family Services in Massachusetts.
Well, I'm glad I don't live in that state.
Absolutely. But you want to talk about a not free state. So they took the kid, and they've had the kid for a year. She's sneaking out notes like a prisoner of war in origami. Help, they're hurting me. Get me out of here.
Oh, my God. Hold on, just to clarify. So these parents went to the hospital. They went to a different hospital. There was somebody who gave them a diagnosis. They said, we want to see a different doctor, and then their child was stolen from them?
Correct, yes. They went to that hospital to see a doctor that had already been this is basically an argument between two doctors. Yes, they went to the hospital in an ambulance to see the doctor specialist that had been treating her.
Well, what else would you do in this circumstance except if there's an argument between two doctors except take the patient's kid away? I mean, what else would you do? It's a free country, for God's sake. What else would you do?
Not. Oh, no, it's not. This state is so oppressive. They have a child-snatching person in that hospital.
Crazy.
And who are you going to argue with as a judge? You've got Harvard Medical School saying, oh, yeah, this is the problem. They've not allowed the girl to see the doctor, who's the Tufts doctor. She couldn't go to mass. She's been in prison, basically in a locked facility for a year.
Wow.
They declared her a ward of the state, which allows them under federal law, under state law there, but allows them to get federal funding. They can do like experimentation on a child if they're a ward of the state.
God.
How old is it? How old is the victim?
She is 14, 15.
So she's more than, aware of what's going on around her.
She's an adult in many cultures throughout history and across the world.
Oh, absolutely. And she's sneaking out notes saying, get me out of here, and they're hurting me. The judge has put a gag order on the family. It's all over the right-wing sort of internet, not mainstream media. I really thought you guys would know about it. But
I don't consider myself right-wing, but, there's a lot of news out there, and we don't see it all. So what was the name of the girl?
Peltier.
Peltier?
It's Justina Peltier, Pellettier, something.
There's got to be an R at the end of that word.
Okay, Justina Peltier. Yeah. Oh, thanks for bringing that to our attention. What else did you have to say about it?
Well, today, the family has just been going nuts in the media, and this happens everywhere around the country. That guy in Kentucky, they're like the worst state. But this happens everywhere all the time. All the proceedings are secret. It's in a star chamber, literally. Juvenile proceedings are all secret. You're in a secret court. There's almost no recourse. But today, the head of the Department of Children and Families was forced to resign. It's been a huge battle. I mean, of course, they have lots of children. They have 120-some children in their care who are missing. Kids are dying in their care. And it's a big Democrat state. But he's finally had to resign, and this kid is still a ward of the state and not, when these cases get to this point, the kidnapping agency is really just sort of keep hanging on to him to save face.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would have been wrong, and if they're wrong, then they're open to a lawsuit. See, this is really the sort of the problem with the government. Is this, they have to make these difficult decisions, and when they do make the difficult decision, they're wrong, and then they're going to get sued for it. So they're trying to cover their butts. It's a real mess.
Yeah, well, the Free Talk Live angle on this is you don't sue the government. It's not like you did me wrong. I mean, in my state anyway, sovereign immunity is huge.
Yeah, you can't touch these guys.
Yeah, I mean, trying to sue the state, I mean, of course there's a resource differential, but, they're the king.
Yep.
And sovereign immunity gets you, it's a bad thing. There's reform needed in this field. It's a great way to repress people who are standing up for whatever thing that the government
is.
Yeah, just label them as
right-wing,
crazy.
left-wing. Yeah, I mean, it's a Soviet tactic. And every time Joe Tsarnaev, the Boston bomber, can have can have visits with his family, but that are not monitored by the state. But this girl can't.
This girl can't. You know what? I think one of the problems is was she a resident of Massachusetts?
No, sir. They're from Connecticut.
Yeah.
And
really? So they went
they were just in Boston and to go see this doctor.
Wow, that's fascinating. They took a Connecticut resident's kid in Massachusetts and wouldn't give it back.
Well, absolutely. And the Connecticut, they're making rulings that their home is unsafe, and they've never been there. And the Connecticut people have gone and done the appropriate home studies, and they're like, oh, it's all fine.
Jim, thanks for bringing that to our attention tonight. I appreciate hearing from you, and thanks for the call. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can take control of the airwaves here. Hour number 3 of this live Saturday edition is coming up next. Ross Ulbricht was arrested by the FBI in 2013 and charged with victimless crimes in relation to allegedly operating the Bitcoin-based Silk Road black market. He has been in a prison cell awaiting trial ever since. If he did it, he's a hero for making the black market a safer place. If he did not, he's a man wrongfully accused. Either way, if you love freedom and want to end the war on drugs, Ross and his family need your support. You can learn more and help fund his defense at freeross.org. That's freeross.org.
There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info. There's a treasure hunt going on at mathgate.info, a Bitcoin treasure hunt. You can find Bitcoins by proving theorems. So, learn some logic, do some math, find some Bitcoins. Even better, mathgate.info is designed to be used anonymously. So, connect to mathgate.info through Tor, prove some theorems, find some anonymous Bitcoins. Don't wait, others are already searching for the Bitcoins. Go to mathgate.info today and join the treasure hunt. There are anonymous Bitcoins to be had for the taking at mathgate.info.
Did you know that you can listen to and watch Free Talk Live during our live show 7 days a week from 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern via our studio cam at cam.freetalklive.com? Not only that, but you can also chat with other listeners at the same time. Do I need to mention that both the studio cam and chat room are totally free? Outside of Free Talk Live's live hours, you won't see a cam feed, but will hear audio from the Liberty Radio Network. So listen, watch, and chat all free at cam.freetalklive.com. That's cam.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
This is the Liberty Beat, your daily source for liberty news and activist updates, online at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan with your Liberty Beat for Friday, May 2nd, 2014. Gold opened today at $1,279, silver opened at $19.04, and Bitcoin is trading at $447.50. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Affordable Sound, CD and DVD duplication for all your print and audio duplication needs. Online, affordablesound.com, or call them up, 512-459-5253. And support comes from Voice and Exit, maximizing human flourishing through radical innovation. Tickets on sale now. Get 10% off with promo code FREEDOM. June 21st at Austin Music Hall. Get yours, voiceandexit.com. In the news, a one-stop shop to hold police accountable for their misconduct is launched, with AccountableAuthority.com now online.
When you go to court, your best friend is not the judge, it's not your defense attorney, it's the jury. If you had access, you'd be able to show the jury, hey, this officer is a serial liar. We know that he's been lying to juries over and over again. We know that he's filed false police reports. He's been caught several times.
That's Accountable Authority founder Daniel Berman, who says the once missing access to police misconduct is what's being compiled through the public's help at the website.
You can actually post that information for free to a public database where basically if you are caught and you're charged illegally by an officer, you can actually find out if this officer has other false reports that he's filed.
Berman encourages all members of the public to document any interaction with police, video record anytime contact is made, and to post and upload any instances of abuse at AccountableAuthority.com. The battle for clean water continues as another Texas city joins the fight. Beaumont, Texas is debating whether or not to remove fluoride from the water supply. The city's water utilities director believes the substance is corroding water pipes. Councilman Michael Gatt said he's heard from constituents regarding fluoride concerns. But Councilman Dr. Alan Coleman said he believes fluoride to be safe and reliable and will provide data backing such claims from the Texas Dental Association. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from Roberts & Roberts Brokerage Incorporated, specializing in precious metals since 1977. They don't feed the banks by taking credit cards, but you can bet they take Bitcoin. Online, rrbi.co, or by phone, 800-874-9760. Support also comes from Central Texas Gunworks, home of one of the first Bitcoin ATMs in the country, where you can buy and sell Bitcoin. Visit the ATM, 321 West Bend White Boulevard, number 203. And support comes from Cabo Bob's, non-GMO chips, homemade tortillas, and no high-fructose corn syrup in anything. Online, cabobobs.com. This is the Liberty Beat for Friday, May 2nd, 2014. Check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. Your Liberty Beat news for this Friday now continues. A unit of Mexican Army soldiers patrolling the Arizona border has possibly gone rogue, attacking American citizens and challenging U.S. federal agents. A report obtained through a FOIA request shows that members of the Mexican Army have crossed into the U.S. at least 300 times over the past 18 years. President of the Border Patrols Union in the Tucson sector calls encounters with the Mexican Army nerve-wracking and says they often occur during the night. The DHS has been ordered to produce answers into the Mexican Army incursion by early February. On Wednesday, whistleblower Edward Snowden told a group of supporters that the U.S. government routinely conducts surveillance on its own citizens, more than it does the citizens of other countries. Snowden criticized the NSA, saying the agency takes a contradictory position when it comes to protecting U.S. data and exploiting security flaws to gather intelligence on foreign threats. Snowden has been nominated this year for the Nobel Peace Prize. On Thursday, demonstrations and protests around the world marked May Day, also known as International Workers' Day. Originally a pagan springtime festival, the holiday has become secularized over the years to focus on workers' rights. Rallies took place in Russia's Red Square, with a reported 2 million people attending. In Turkey, police used tear gas canisters and a water cannon to disrupt banned protests. In Cambodia, 1,000 factory workers and supporters are said to have violated a ban on demonstrations to call for higher wages and an end to corruption. Support for the Liberty Beat comes from The Corey Moore Show, live Friday nights, 9 o'clock Central Time at thecoreymoreshow.com. This is the Liberty Beat for Friday, May 2nd, 2014. Remember, check out the website at thelibertybeat.com. I'm Brian Hagan reporting, reminding you, spread liberty with a smile.
Following the announcement of First Communion, The Holy Spookerist, the first hardcore pornographic movie to be filmed in Vatican City since 1982's classic adult feature Pope Fisters 4, Onion reporter spoke to Herschel Savage, director of the film.
It's a huge honor for me and everyone else involved with this film. This is where they shot Pope Fisters 4. I mean, that movie's a masterpiece. Well, when we wrote up the script, we sent it over to the Vatican to get the Pope's approval and see if he had any notes, but he loved it just the way it was.
The highly anticipated pornographic film, which stars Ron Jeremy as the horny see himself, Pope Benedict the 69th, will reportedly contain graphic sex scenes filmed in the Sistine Chapel, St. Peter's Square, and the Pope-mobile, among various other notable sites within the Vatican.
Well, actually, I'm just watching a cut of this amazing scene we shot last night where Pope Benedict is gangbanging a bunch of nuns in his bed. And it was great because the Pope let us use his bedroom. Tomorrow we're shooting the scene where 2 nuns fuck each other on St. Peter's tomb using strap-on crucifixes. I think people are really going to like this movie.
This is the Onion News Network.
This is Free Talk Live. It's the live Saturday edition of the program, and you can bring up whatever you want here, toll free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Visit our website. We've got a webcam. You can watch, you can listen, and you can interact with other Free Talk Live listeners. Just go to cam.freetalklive.com to accomplish that. Like the rest of the features on our website, it's free. That's cam.freetalklive.com. as we jump right into your phone calls and thoughts. Still to come here tonight, infidelity, and do men and women look at it differently? There's one study that has a few things to say about it. Doug, though, first, listening in North Dakota. You're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Doug.
Evening, gents.
Hey.
Thanks for taking my call. Just real briefly, I was not surprised. You were speaking with that. I was talking about the conundrum with the young girl over in Connecticut and Massachusetts, and he blurted out that this is a big deal.
Whoa, I don't know what just happened to your phone line, Doug, but you dropped out for just a few moments.
Are you there?
Yeah,
Are you there?
we got you here. We heard you say he blurted out and then it went bad.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, okay. I'll lean forward, getting a better reception. Okay. Well, you were quick, Pavlovian-like, to say I'm not right-wing. But I guess I'm a little confused as to your interpretation of right-wing. My understanding is the left wing is total control. The right wing, the far right wing, would be anarchy, which is a misconstrued understanding. And I've listened to you guys for a couple years now, and I always figured you guys to be libertarian-minded, which is, minimal control, which is right wing.
Yeah, and I just have a different definition than you do.
Okay, so right wing and left wing come from the French.
We can't have different definitions.
Agreed, 100%.
National Socialism was not right wing. It was very left wing. It was a control type environment.
I don't know whether that's exactly true. So let me give you my definition of right wing, left wing. The French Parliament had the monarchists on the right side and had the progressive types for their day in the late, I guess it was the early 19th century. The progressives for their day on the left-hand side. And this is where we get this from. So a right-winger is a person who harkens back to the way things were at one point, like a monarchist would. They're going to be interested to some extent in centralized control. Now, the left wing has become very interested in centralized control, but this is an evolution from what was the left wing at the time. So I don't know. The terms have evolved since then, so it's difficult to say precisely what it means. I would say that the ideas of liberty transcend the right and left paradigm.
I totally agree with that. In fact, let me throw down my understanding of what
transcending is a good word.
Right. So I don't consider myself on the left or the right. So by me saying I'm not right wing, that was not to suggest that I consider myself left wing either, nor do I consider myself a centrist. I don't like this left-right paradigm to begin with, but I'll give you my understanding of what the terms mean. When I hear right wing, I think of somebody who might understand economic freedom, but on the other hand wants to control people socially. When I hear left wing, I think of somebody who they might understand social freedoms, but they want to control people economically. So I see the right and the left wing as simply two wings of the same big government bird, if you will, that wants to just peck at us and take as much as it possibly can to whatever wing's favorite programs happen to be in charge at that particular moment. I've seen no evidence whatsoever that politicians, whether they be left or right wing, have any interest in reducing the size and scope and intrusiveness and oppressiveness of the state.
At this point in time, with what you said, I would agree with you. They are two wings of the same vulture, but they are complete fakes, and the Republican Party in the United States and the Democrat Party are both very much left wing. If you were to take and have maximum control on the left side down to absolute zero.
That's your definition of right and left wing. I suspect that most people won't harbor that definition, especially people on the left. There are a lot of people on the left who feel like they appreciate freedom as well. And I don't know if they would want to believe that they're on the controlling side, because there's all kinds of evidence that right-wingers want to control certain things about people, whether it be the person you can marry or whether or not you can put drugs in your body. And again, I'm generalizing because there's plenty of Democrats that want to control, what you put in your body too. So really, they're all just a bunch of fascists and socialists as far as I'm concerned, and I want nothing to do with any of that. That's why I like the world's smallest political quiz. Have you ever heard of it before?
No.
It's a pretty neat little thing they came up with. The dude who founded the Libertarian Party, actually, I think, was the guy who David Nolan. He came up with this, and he was just so frustrated with people with this left-right paradigm, like, well, you're either on the left, you're on the right, or you're a centrist and you don't believe in anything. And so what he did was he came up with the diamond chart, which expanded the axes. So, if you will, with the left and the right, that's the x-axis, and then there would be the y-axis, where that would be the up and the down on this chart, and on the upper and the down.
That's beautiful. I remember this chart. I remember this chart very well.
It's diamond shaped. So there's there's a point on the left, and there's a point on the right, and then there's a point on the top and a point on the bottom. The top part was the libertarian quadrant. The bottom part was the authoritarian quadrant. And they came up with test questions that you could ask people. So if you go to theadvocates.org,
we'll just go to quiz.freetalklive.com.
I don't know if that works anymore.
It does. I just went there.
Okay, great. So quiz.freetalklive.com will take you right to this quiz, and it's a kind of a fun thing to give out in public to people to kind of show how many people are actually libertarians. I used to do this all the time when I was in Florida. I'd go to a gun show. I'd go to lesbian pride, gay and lesbian pride fest. I'd go to the county fair. So I'd go to right-wing events. I'd go to left-wing events, if you will, and kind of a general event. And it turns out that when you go to a gay and lesbian pride fest, the audience scores either left liberal on the chart, or they score libertarian. And there's still some authoritarians. If you go to a gun show, the people score on the right as a conservative, or as a libertarian, or as an authoritarian. And then at the general, the county fair, they're all over the map. But I think that's a much better representation of what people believe, and the way they divvy up how you score left versus right on this particular quiz is how you answer questions relating to personal or economic freedom. So I think we just have a fundamental difference in what we consider right-wing to be. I consider a right-winger to be someone who wants to control people socially, but not so much economically. And so with that, since we don't define it in the same way, we're not really communicating.
Yeah, and that's therein lies the problem. The crux of the problem is we have had our language hijacked. You have probably repeatedly been told that National Socialists or skinheads or neo-Nazis are right-wing. Well, actually, if you look at it historically, they are intrinsically and fundamentally left-wing, and I guess it would be good, to be mindful of the foundation of it, and neither one of us are in the time that we have are going to be able to parse this out or hash this out, but
nor do I really care to. I have no interest.
I don't have a dog in the hunt.
You sound like you do. I mean, you sound like you are trying to preserve the term right wing. You want it to mean this little, this freedom-oriented thing. But the people who adopt that term for themselves do not have the same viewpoint that you do, I don't think. If you believe that right-wing means less control, then find me some right-wingers that believe that to be the case and actually put their words and their money where their mouth is. I don't see it happening. There's plenty of people at those tea parties that want to control you. Plenty of them.
How about Ron Paul?
Ron Paul, I would say, is an exception to...
And he probably identifies as right-wing.
Hey, thanks for the call, Doug. I appreciate you bringing that to the table
you guys
tonight.
Take care.
Very good, sir. 855-450-FREEZE, the toll-free number brought to you by ProXPN.
I'd point out that the National Socialists certainly distanced themselves from Hitler, as you can imagine. He happened to take over that particular party, but he's not necessarily indicative of what those people believe. I don't know what skinheads and really believe as far as National Socialism goes.
We'll come back with more. You are welcome to share your thoughts here tonight. 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733, live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live.
Have you ever thought you'd like to buy and sell houses but didn't know how or where to begin? Do you fear your job is in jeopardy, or is your business income reduction keeping you awake at night? We're in the best time in 25 years to make a fortune in real estate without using your money or credit. My name is Ron LeGrand, and I've taught 500,000 people to do just that and personally bought hundreds of houses myself. If you'll call 800-970-6156, 24 hours, and leave your information, I'll send you the first 500 callers my hot new CD, Foreclosure Fortunes, and my best-selling book to help you get started absolutely free. I'll show you how to build a six-figure income part-time with no previous experience and no license, even if you're a busy professional. Call 800-970-6156 24 hours and get my new book and CD free. That's 800-970-6156. Take your life back and make this your best year ever. Call 800-970-6156 now.
Gold. It's like nothing else on Earth. From the Romans through the Renaissance, from the Industrial Age to the Space Age, gold has weathered the test of time. For 6,000 years, gold has remained the ultimate store of wealth. According to the World Gold Council and the U.S. Mint, demand is at an all-time high. The stage is being set for the reemergence of gold as the common-sense alternative to a fiat paper currency that gets weaker every day. Midas Resources is proud to offer the hard-hitting report that arms you with the truth you need to protect you and your family from the Fed's plans for your hard-earned money. Don't gamble with your future. Call Midas Resources today and ask for your free copy of As Good as Gold. Call 1-800-686-2237 for the report the Fed hopes you'll never see. As Good as Gold can be yours by calling 800-686-2237. If you have ever thought about owning gold, you must read this report. Call Midas today at 800-686-2237.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
Immigrating to the Shire was easy. I was instantly plugged into a community of individuals who also care about peace, liberty, and justice, and are willing to do something about it.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here. And I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, add yourself to the Shire map at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
The three most important things you can do for Free Talk Live are: 1, share one episode a week on Facebook or in some other social networking site. 2, buy the things you buy online through shop.freetalklive.com. 3, give $5 a month to the AMP program. You likely buy all kinds of things online. Amazon is the largest online retailer. You can get what you need at the same prices with free Super Saver shipping by going to shop.freetalklive.com. Please do your online shopping at shop.freetalklive.com.
Have you ever wanted to move to the land of LibPair? Libertarian paradise, where there's fun for everyone that doesn't initiate force on others, fun for the kids, parties for the adults, buy and sell in silver or Bitcoin, scenic hikes and gun shoots, speeches to educate us all. The Porcupine Freedom Festival is LibPair in the White Mountains of New Hampshire for a week this summer, June 22nd to 29th. Get your tickets now before there's no more room. PorcFest, the event of a lifetime. PorcFest.com. That's PorcFest.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. It is the live Saturday edition here, and you can take control of the airwaves toll-free at 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733, the Pro XPN toll-free line. And we've got Skype. You can Skype into the show. Username there is lrn.fm. Just send a contact request first. We will approve you, and it'll be easy for you to call on Skype from that point forward.
I'm an advocate of Bitcoins. From the standpoint that it increases human freedom, it gives you the control over your own money that humans really haven't had for centuries, if not millennia, really, honestly. And, you know, you can look at this from all angles, and I think most people would agree that, yeah, returning control over money to individuals is it's superior and preferable. Bitcoin does that. Also, I'm an advocate of Bitcoin from the standpoint of investment. I believe that Bitcoins are going to increase in value over time. I think they're going to increase dramatically. There's a huge amount of infrastructure going in place for Bitcoin. Companies are rising up that only service the Bitcoin economy. Further, retailers are taking Bitcoin. Places like eGifter, Gift.com, Overstock.com, Tiger Direct. You can buy just about anything in the world now with Bitcoins. And this allows people to travel across borders without having to exchange money. It's going to get easier and easier to simply do business in Bitcoin and not do business in whatever government-controlled currency you may use, whether it's the dollar, the ruble, the euro, or what, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of them out there, and they're all controlled by central bankers and not you. So if you want to get some Bitcoins, cashintocoins.com makes it easy for you. They're safe, fast, legal. Their fees are low, and customer service is their top priority. You can use a money order, check, or wire transfer to get Bitcoins, and I recommend you do it. The fact is that they have no fee on orders under $40 still at cashintocoins.com. Just go there, cashintocoins.com. The instructions will carry you through the rest. They've got great rates, cashintocoins.com.
All right, let's continue with your calls and your thoughts about whatever's on your mind. If we get a chance, we'll talk about infidelity in a few moments. But first, we've got Corb on the line. He's in Houston. Hello, Corb.
It's actually Corby, but anyway.
Corby, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah. Like, I just wanted to say, first off, to the police officer that called in, you kind of said it, too, that A, it's going to – I've never seen anybody that was driving crazily, erratically. I'm not saying I've never seen anybody that was –
I don't think we had a police officer call in tonight. Just saying.
Yes, that he – and he said that would you want the police officer driving a marijuana person home instead of saving your child from being raped or your wife? And number one,
he's not a police officer, by the way. He's just a troll.
Not that we know of. That's Witt who called in on that one. Go ahead.
He was very pro-police by his response.
He was.
Either way, in most cities, the person, is probably closer to his house than to the police station. So. And it would probably take the police officer an hour to drive downtown and fill out the paperwork and eat donuts and say hi to his friends and all that versus taking the person home. And the odds of him being the only police officer in that town when the call comes in. But that was crazy. But anyway, on to Joe in Kentucky. I commend him for his activism, but I agree with you. I think in rural Kentucky, I'm in Texas, and with the exception of the few libertarian-minded, like Ron Paul's from here, but the majority – they're very non-libertarian, and he's going up against forces that are very prepared for opposition. So unless he has support, he's probably going to be in for a lot of trouble in Kentucky. It's just my, avoiding the government's always my best advice, and just, unless you absolutely have to deal with them. But, activism is always commended, but it always has a risk.
Yeah, there is risk involved for sure. You were talking about the guy who called earlier, kind of excited about getting active and wondering why, or what would it take, he said, to start the Free State Project in Kentucky. And when somebody asks that question, you can tell they're new to this, right? Like when you open a conversation with, how do we start the Free State Project in fill in the blank state where I live? You're obviously somebody who hasn't really gotten their feet wet in the world of activism, because if you had, you would understand why the Free State Project exists. If you've done activism before wherever it is that you live, whether it's kind of cop block style with a video camera, or whether it's just handing out flyers to people, or whatever it is, your activism that you're doing, you'll know, if you love freedom at least, how lonely of an experience it can be, how ineffective libertarian activists are nationwide. And if you've had enough of those lonely, ineffective experiences, and then you find the idea of the Free State Project, it'll make a lot more sense. But otherwise, it feels like it's possible. Like if you have no activism experience, the idea that you could build some sort of a movement of people who care about freedom where you live. It works
so well with the Free State Project. Why wouldn't it work where I am?
Well, right. I mean, the idea, even if you didn't even know about the Free State Project, you may think that, well, we'll just work within the system and we'll change things here. Well, people have been trying that forever, and it doesn't work very well. If it did work well, we'd have some place where government was getting smaller rather than bigger over time. And maybe we'll see that happen in New Hampshire at some point. We are seeing some big government stuff.
We see places where governments are collapsing, but not where they're getting smaller.
We've seen some big government stuff get stopped dead in its tracks here in New Hampshire, but some of it still creeps through. So we're still working on it here, and we've got the best liberty movement in the world here in New Hampshire, and we've still got our work cut out for us. We still need thousands more to come here. So the idea that you can build something like what we have here in New Hampshire with the Free State Project where you are, it's just you don't know what you're up against.
Unlikely.
Yeah. Corby, rather. Thank you.
My last quick comment is that the person that said right wing is libertarian, because I first found you guys after listening to some right wing show, and then if they weren't so pro-military, they say less government, but they also want more strong defense. That's their big Republican mantra, and it's like such an oxymoron. It's impossible to have both, and they don't get it. But
and more than half of discretionary spending in the U.S. government goes to military.
Corby. Like Eisenhower said, every bomber could have built a school in 1,000 towns, or could have built a hospital, 10 cities, or this military spending is just in the Pentagon. We're not even at war, and we have this building where 1 million people work, and they said 800,000 were non-essential personnel during that little furlough, but they all still have a job if they're non-essential. To me, I don't really understand our spending so much money on non-essential personnel. You got to feel important if you're a non-essential personnel.
Corby, thanks for your call tonight. I appreciate hearing from you. 855-450-FREE.
You are not essential.
Plus,
how's that feel?
Saying that libertarians or the liberty movement is on the right is pretty insulting, I think, to some people who've come to the ideas of liberty from the left. They don't. Again, the idea of
there's
right-wing,
people called left libertarians.
Yeah, the idea of right wing it's scary to a lot of people, because for many it doesn't mean freedom oriented. It certainly doesn't mean that to me. It means somebody wants to control you in different ways than the people on the left want to control you. And the people who come to the ideas of liberty are leaving the right wing. They're leaving the left wing. They're coming to a different place entirely, one that's based on not what some party boss says, but one that's actually based on principle. You can't ask a left or right winger the question of, hey, can you define your philosophy in one sentence?
Right. Whereas with libertarian, you can say that we refuse to use force or fraud to achieve our ends.
Right. Try asking that of one of your right or left wing buddies.
Right.
Do they even have a philosophy?
The opposite of Rush Limbaugh.
do they even have a philosophy, or is it just we do what Rush says, or we do what Al Sharpton says, or whatever, whoever the left or right talking points people are?
Tom Hartman's pretty good.
Tom Hartman, there you go. He's a big one, big name. So 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We continue with the live Saturday Free Talk Live.
If you owe the IRS back taxes, listen carefully. Sweeping changes to IRS policies will help more people than ever eliminate their tax debts once and for all. And now I can help you reduce or eliminate your tax debts and end your tax nightmare. Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I've helped thousands of people reduce and eliminate tax debts they couldn't pay. And after more than 30 years of experience dealing with the IRS, I can tell you there's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. And with the IRS's new policies, it's easier than ever to put your tax debt behind you once and for all. Call now at 800-346-6829 to learn how I can help you. You know your IRS debt will not go away by itself, but you don't have to live in fear anymore. Call 800-346-6829. Learn how I can help you eliminate wage and bank levies, release tax liens, and negotiate a settlement with the IRS that will put your tax nightmare behind you forever. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to taxhelponline.com. That's taxhelponline.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. To me, an activist's calling is to actively work to advance a cause. The cause for which I work is personal freedom. I believe my life is best when I engage in voluntary interactions and self-government. I reject the idea that anyone else has a higher claim to my life or my body than I do. I see people who call themselves the government as a threat to my personal freedom. I realize you may feel differently, but my relationship with the people who call themselves the government is completely involuntary. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's FFF at FFF.org.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Never, ever send a follow-up email asking, "Did you get my email?" Email 101. If it didn't bounce back undeliverable, it got where you sent it. And avoid transmedia pestering, like calling to ask, "Did you get my email?" or emailing to say, "I left you a voicemail." If your emails and voicemails aren't being acknowledged, your problem isn't technology, it's technique. Is your message concise and understandable? Have you boiled it down to seem as relevant as possible to the recipient? In other words, is it the opposite of spam or junk mail? All of this really matters if you're a job seeker. But even if you're not, with money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
Listen to LRN.FM on any phone, anytime. 213-493-0309. That's 213-493-0309.
Free Talk Live. Take control. Toll free here. Live Saturday edition. The number, 855-450-FREE. That is the Pro XPN toll-free line, 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live brought to you by Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. If you haven't seen it, you really should go and check it out. It's a feature-length documentary film that I had the honor of being the executive producer for, and Bo Davis was the editor of the film and co-producer. He's actually in town here in Keene for the week, which I'm excited about. He's shooting some footage for an upcoming documentary, another upcoming documentary from New Hampshire about the Free State Project. It's called 101 Reasons That Liberty Lives, or 101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire. 101reasonsfilm.com is Bo's site. They're shooting footage already. They've already done some shorts, some several minute long little clips that they've put out to kind of tease people about what this movie is going to be. If you don't know, the Free State Project, as we've mentioned, is moving liberty-loving people to New Hampshire, and there's a really persuasive document on their website, freestateproject.org, the 101 Reasons to Move to New Hampshire.
Right.
Well, they're going to take those 101 reasons, they're going to turn it into a video documentary film. And I'm really excited. I've signed on as an associate producer, essentially, for that film. It was not my vision. I wasn't involved in the genesis of the project, but they approached me later on and asked if I wanted to come on board and sign on with a little bit of money to produce, and I said yes, because I think they're doing a great job. And if you've seen Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree, you know that whatever comes out of the 101 Reasons film is going to be great.
It's going to be quality.
Yeah, it's going to be good quality. Basically, Bo Davis took hours and hours of activist footage that we shot here in Keene, New Hampshire, mostly of Derek J. Freeman getting arrested in multiple instances of victimless crimes. And he cobbled together a really entertaining hour-and-a-half long feature-length film that focuses on civil disobedience and victimless crimes and all of the arrests that Derek experienced in his year of multiple arrests here, just how ridiculous they were. You can see the movie in full for free at victimlesscrimespree.com in HD on YouTube. It's had over 150,000 views, and I'm really, really happy about that. You can also buy the DVD. If you really like it, you can grab the DVD, which has 8 hours, almost 8 hours of bonus activist footage on there. So you want to see all the original sources for what was actually included in the movie. You get to see that and more with the DVD, and you can learn more about that at victimlesscrimespree.com. It's, I think, to this day, the only movie, feature-length film to have ever been produced by Free State Project participants here in New Hampshire. I believe that to be true.
I think you might be right.
Yep. So let's go to Larry. Larry, you're in Alexandria, Louisiana, and you're on Free Talk Live. Hey, Larry.
Hi. I got an idea today, and it has to do with these new vehicles that got the GPS on board. knows how fast you're going, exactly where you're sitting, turn left, turn right, step on the brake, gas on it, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if I come to I'll give you an example of my idea. Come to a four-way stop. I can plainly see left, right, and from the other side. There's no other vehicles there. Well, the machine should tell me a green light, go. Because if you stop, you're using more gas, and when you do that, you're killing the earth, right? So you should just blow that stop sign, and the machine will tell you when. Now, if I come to a four-way stop, and you're, say, to the right of me at the stop sign, and it's your turn to go, and I blow the stop sign, well, then my car should give me the ticket, and I should have to go pay you because you're now the victim. Before there was no victim. The state can't be a victim. But now there's a victim, and I should have to pay you directly for victimizing you. What do you think?
I think that's fascinating. I like the idea. Obviously, the state is not going to allow itself to be taken out of the middle. It really loves to give fines, and just to get in the middle and give fines. But I think it's fascinating. I think that the blowing the stop sign thing is really going to come around with the Google driverless car. There's several companies are working on this driverless car technology, and likely when you come to intersections, it'll know whether there are other cars there, and it will blow the stop sign. Because you're right, it's an incredible waste of fuel, energy. This is important these days. It's a waste of energy to come to a full and complete rock back stop at a stop sign when there's nobody around.
Right, and let's just keep on this because if there's no victim, there's no reason for a person to pay. But if I victimize you because I ran the stop sign in front of you, then I should pay you.
How much do you think it's worth if I I was just slightly delayed?
The inconvenience.
Right. Like I've thought about this like with a crosswalk situation. Like, here in New Hampshire, basically, if anybody's in the crosswalk, it's a fine. And there's been instances where somebody steps in the crosswalk and I just didn't see them, immediately. And I didn't want to slam on my brakes if there's somebody behind me. So, I end up scooting past them. And I don't think they had to break their stride or anything like that. But they've... I should have come to a stop according to the law. And I've thought, I wonder what's the victimization there? Because all they had to do is break their stride.
Yeah, well, I don't know what it would be worth, but we can fix that too. We could ensure that the system knows if they were a victim, but we could get everybody RFID tagged, and then they'll know where the individual is standing and moving.
I don't know about that.
And now we can still eliminate the system. My vehicle gives me the ticket, and then I'll pay that person because we know who it was because, they're all in the system.
Yep, they're
Larry,
all
thanks.
tracked out.
Thanks for your call tonight, man. I appreciate hearing from you. I'm glad that you actually brought up the Google car because I saw a video on this the other day. I don't know if you've seen this recent video that they put out where
I did.
You did see it?
Yep.
So I'm going to put a link up on our Facebook, Google+, and Twitter, and you'll be able to see this for yourself.
I'm very excited about this technology.
It's neat.
It's going to change the world.
It already, they've done some amazing stuff here. There's a story here, Mark, just to give you a little bit of info. ExtremeTech.com says Google's self-driving cars, of which there are usually a dozen on the roads of California and Nevada at any given time, have now logged 700,000 miles of accident-free autonomous driving.
Now, most of this is done on the interstate. They're just and highways. They're working on doing residential stuff. But frankly, they're ready to roll out. You can roll out. They're going to start doing trucks. Sadly, they're going to eliminate
professional drivers.
Yeah, the last American hero, in my opinion. And they're going to have these driverless trucks. And imagine for a second that you didn't have to drive on an interstate. You could just turn off, you just turn on the autopilot, and once you're on an interstate, it takes care of itself. These things are accident-free on the interstate in 700,000 miles. I'd love to hear from the person who's accident-free in the last 700,000 miles. Give me a call at 855-450-FREE because that's the only person I want to hear about opinion on these driverless cars. The rest of you people, you're catastrophe and you're dangerous.
The first thing I thought about when you said that they're going to start putting these driverless devices or whatever in long-haul trucks, immediately I thought about Maximum Overdrive. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
It came out before you went to prison, so I would have been surprised if you hadn't seen it. It's a Stephen King movie with Emilio Estevez in it, and it's about him and a bunch of other people that get caught at a truck stop when I think it's like an alien or something like that. Some sort of ethereal force animates 18-wheelers, and these things become homicidal, and they just come like these 18-wheeler trucks start going after people and killing people, and it's a really entertaining movie. It's got like an AC/DC soundtrack to it.
Well, what else would it have?
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I first thought of, is having all these driverless trucks running around and going to Maximum Overdrive.
I think that this is something that's probably going to roll out in the next few years in cars. And I don't know how long, but I'm excited for it. But imagine for a second that you just turned on the autopilot when you got on the interstate. I think this is going to kill domestic air travel too.
Ooh, yeah, maybe.
If I could sit in my car and my car goes 600 miles on a tank of gas, this hybrid that I've got, 600 miles on a tank of gas, I'm from New Hampshire down to Washington, D.C. on a tank of gas in 10 hours. Put it on the interstate, go to sleep.
I'll tell you more about this driverless car situation. The article does go on, and it's worth sharing. It's very fascinating stuff. We'll link over the video on our Facebook, Google+, and Twitter here in moments. Of course, still time for you with your thoughts. 855-450-FREE. It'll be weird to look over and see, somebody not paying attention.
Oh, yeah.
Or, sitting in another seat in their car or something like that. It's Free Talk Live. You take control here.
Angioprim can unclog blocked arteries and improve blood flow in all parts of your body. Angioprim is oral chelation. Easy, simple, liquid oral chelation. You take it with juice before breakfast and forget about it. Angioprim works fast, unlike old-fashioned chelation that takes hours. Just log on to angioprim.com. That's Angioprim, ANGIOPRIM, angioprim.com. Angioprim users say they have more energy, more strength, more endurance. Increased circulation and blood flow will make all your body parts work better. Log on to angioprim.com to get more information on how you can get started and start feeling better, having fun, and doing more again. Lots more. Talk to a trained Angioprim consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. That's 877-882-7221. Or log on for complete information. Angioprim.com. That's Angioprim.com. Find out how Angioprim can work for you. Get the facts about Angioprim at Angioprim.com.
Mother's Day is right around the corner. If you haven't ordered Mother's Day flowers yet, visit proflowers.com for an amazing deal. Get 100 gorgeous blooms for mom with a free glass vase for $19.99. Her flowers are guaranteed to stay fresh and beautiful for at least one full week. The only way to get this incredible deal is to go to proflowers.com/radio right now and enter the code PLOW, P-L-O-W. That's proflowers.com/radio and enter code PLOW, P-L-O-W.
If you own a business, you need customers, right? Well, your potential customers are listening to this radio program right now, and I can help you reach them. Hi, I'm Matt Brower, a national marketing executive at the radio network responsible for this program. I can help you customize a national radio campaign that fits your budget, large or small, while targeting your specific audience. Call me to learn how radio advertising can make your business more profitable. 877-996-4327, extension 128. That's 877-996-4327, extension 128.
Free Talk Live.
The town wants him to stop. So he's charged with a misdemeanor and could spend 6 months in jail. 71 years old.
Nice folks there.
He's
wouldn't let
blind. That's his source of
blind
living.
Old man sell some firewood out of his front yard. Nice.
So now you're looking at having to go out, get a firewood permit, which is going to cost you X amount of dollars a year, and who knows how much research to try and figure out how to get the permit.
Just then doing whatever they can to stop industry.
Yeah, then you have to go and get your education so you can actually run the saw, and then you have to get a variance on your property so you can actually sell the firewood from your property. Oh, and don't forget, if you have a storefront, then you have to pay, what, $500, $600, $700 a month in rent, maybe $4,000 a month in rent, depending on what city you live in.
Gotta have an occupational license, too.
Aggression like this by these government people happens all across the country, and you have to ask, how much more are you willing to put up with before you finally say no?
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Here's a chance to do a little activism while you're cruising Facebook, Twitter, or Google+. Between the LOL cats, the recipes, the hot girls, and the inspirational sunrise memes, Free Talk Live's post pass by your newsfeed. Like them, comment. It gives us more exposure. If you don't see our posts, click like at facebook.freetalklive.com and then hover over it to click Get Notifications. It's an easy way to spread the ideas of liberty a bit further. I know you're busy, but you can spare that 1/10 of a calorie it takes to click on something. facebook.freetalklive.com. This is Mark of Free Talk Live. We've been witnessing a meltdown of the economic engine that powers our country. With a printing press tethered to Washington bureaucrats and New York central bankers, how can we trust paper money? For years, I've been buying gold and silver from Midas Resources, and you should too. Call 877-357-9938 for a free book titled 10 Reasons to Own Gold, or go to gold.freetalklive.com. Again, 877-357-9938. 877-357-9938.
You can interact with other LRN listeners in our message board at forum.lrn.fm. That's forum.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here, toll free. Even in these remaining moments on this live Saturday edition. The number is 855-450-FREE. Tell us how you feel about driverless cars. Just random topic. Happened to come up because of, well, people like you calling into the show. You can take control of the airwaves here at 855-450-FREE. And you can join us online at freetalklive.com. Do you like what we're doing here on Free Talk Live? Well, one of the things you can do to support the show is to become an amplifier. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote, and that means the $5 a month that the AMP program costs is money that we invest into Free Talk Live. We turn it right back into the show by getting on more radio stations. We use the money to reach out to stations and introduce the program directors there to Free Talk Live. We also use the money to do Google AdWords campaigns, among other things. You can get a list of some of the stuff the money is spent on at amp.freetalklive.com. The Google AdWords campaign right now is reaching out to people just searching for things like talk radio or internet talk or free talk or whatever, just kind of generic talk radio searches online. We want them to find Free Talk Live and find the ideas of liberty. If you want to help spread these ideas, you can do that for $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com. Makes a big difference for us when you do that. And your AMP dollars will be doubled thanks to some generous contributors that we have who are willing to pony up for the next several months. At the very least, they've committed, I think, through October of this year. They started last year in October and have been doubling new amplifiers. So if you sign up for the AMP program tonight at amp.freetalklive.com, if you do it for $10 a month, it's like doing it for $20 because thanks to the doublers out there, the matching contributors. So go to amp.freetalklive.com and get signed up there with any major credit card through PayPal, Visa, or MasterCard right through our website. And you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group, which has been busy every day. There's people posting in the AMP Facebook group. There's also the AMP-only forum, the AMP-only call-in lines, and more. Go get the details. Oh, yeah, and the AMP podcast at amp.freetalklive.com. A little bit more here about Google and these self-driving cars. 700,000 miles. This article came out 3 days ago. So this is pretty fresh numbers. They've gone over 700,000 miles with no accidents. And there are multiple cars. They say there are usually a dozen on the roads at any given time in California and Nevada. Google has released a new video that demonstrates some impressive software improvements that have been made over the last 2 years. Most notably, the self-driving cars can now track hundreds of objects simultaneously, including pedestrians, and indicating cyclists, a stop sign held by a crossing guard, or traffic cones. When they say indicating, meaning like with this, when you're on a bicycle, you're supposed to do that hand sign thing for turning left and right. They're saying they can detect that when a bicyclist is doing that hand signal. When there's it's
a pretty big deal.
Yeah, in this video, when they're going down the road, it shows how the car will move over. You know, if there's a car pulled over in the right, the shoulder of the road or something like that, or a bicyclist on the bike lane. The car is programmed, this Google driving thing, programmed to, we're going to move over to the left a little bit, give this person a little bit more space. Fascinating stuff.
Well, it doesn't surprise me that they're going to move, to work on the technology. What surprises me is that we haven't already implemented what it can do well, which is interstate driving. It's a very rare individual that can go 700,000 miles without an accident. I did find out about a truck driver who has been awarded 2 million miles without an accident and no citations. A Seattle woman. Fantastic, but the average person isn't this good. And to some extent, this is luck too, right? Mm-hmm. Computers don't work with luck. So anyway, I think that really soon we should, if we don't, we should have this technology in cars. And the
only thing standing in the way is the government.
Yep, the interstate's a dangerous place, and the dangerous things are the human beings behind wheels. Sadly,
it's true.
They make mistakes. They get tired.
They get drunk.
They get drunk. They look around. They're playing with their iPods. They're texting. They're doing a variety of things that make them. Even if you're the best driver on the road, those other people are not paying attention.
Yep.
And frankly, we all likely have been guilty of this at some point or another. So I can't wait. I think it's going to be much better. It's going to save on fuel. It's going to stop traffic jams, because the fact is, when these computers are integrating, when computers are merging cars together on an interstate,
this is going to take a long time. I mean, even if this goes to mass market within 5 years, it's going to take a long time for this tech to filter into everybody's car.
That's true.
There's still going to be people out there driving old cars that aren't going to have this technology.
There'll probably be a retrofit, and people will go around, we'll figure out ways to get around those. These cars will drive in like lines. They'll draft, so the fuel economy will be better. Yep. So they'll be within inches of the bumpers of the cars and next to them, and that'll increase fuel efficiency. I wonder.
I don't know if that's a good thing to do. I mean, that's not going to stop a deer from running out in front of the cars, and then if one car stops, all the rest of them might still hit them. And I mean, even if it's a fraction of a second reaction time, or
they'll have
whatever.
Traction control. The computers will decide. It's not like deers haven't existed with these Google cars. They've been able to handle it.
That's what I'd like to see. I mean, besides just an on-the-road kind of test where most things are predictable, I wonder what the testing is like when they're on a closed track and they're just, a car just comes careening across a lane of traffic or something that would be unusual, or somebody cutting across a median. Anyway, Google's driverless car makes it look easy, but there's a huge amount of work going on behind the scenes. Not only is there around $150,000 of equipment in each car performing real-time LiDAR and 360-degree computer vision, but the software itself is the result of years of development. Basically, every single driving situation that can possibly occur must be painstakingly programmed into the software. It isn't like Google has built an artificial intelligence that can learn how to drive a car from basic principles. If Google doesn't tell the car what to do, it doesn't do anything. And as you can imagine, there are quite literally thousands of situations that could occur while driving around a town. As always, Google's blog post is short on exact numbers, but it does say this, that thousands of situations on city streets that would have stumped us 2 years ago can now be navigated autonomously. And back in 2012, the software had already successfully piloted the cars for 300,000 accident-free miles. In the video, you can see that Google's cars can now react to railroad crossings, large stationary objects, roadwork signs, and even cones, and cyclists. Cyclist detection is particularly impressive. Not only can it see when a cyclist is indicating to move left or right, but it even watches out for cyclists coming from behind when making a right-hand turn. While a lot has been said about the expensive LiDAR hardware used by the driverless car, most of the innovations are likely based on computer vision. While LiDAR gives you a very good idea of the lay of the land and the position of large objects, like parked cars, it doesn't help with spotting speed limits or construction ahead signs. LiDAR might tell you that an object is passing your blind spot or there's an obstruction in front of you, but computer vision tells you that it's a cyclist or a railroad crossing barrier. So as we've seen previously with its Street View and Google Glass efforts, computer vision is one of its stronger suits, and it's now bringing its expertise to bear in its driverless cars. Fascinating stuff. Let's go to Patrick in Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live, Patrick.
How's it going this evening?
Welcome, sir.
I was going to bring up the whole Russia-Ukraine issue. First of all, just that I wanted to stay out of it, but I was just listening to you guys. And I would actually like to maybe discuss a little bit about what you're talking about.
Driverless cars?
Here we are. Go ahead.
Exactly. I think we're cutting out the whole issue of maybe not natural selection, but the issue with sorry, I'm a little nervous.
It's okay. It's just us. There's nobody else here.
Oh, great. You get into all this sort of stuff, and it's great, and it's great that technology is advancing so quickly, and I appreciate it. But then again, what dangers come with that? I mean,
robot overlords,
Skynet.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what else will there be? Christine.
That's kind of what I'm leading to.
Your car loves you and it doesn't want you to see anybody else.
Yeah, like the Jared commercial, right? Exactly. Listen, and I think that what is this? More laziness on the in the mindset of these Google people. I mean, are they basing their technology on the laziness of the average human? Is this how?
Well, of course, people want convenience. I mean, that's what a lot of things are sold to us on in the marketplace. Is this is going to make your life easier, right? I mean, that's a big selling point for whatever the product or service might be. That this is going to take work away from you. It's going to give you more leisure time. It's going to make
not just
life
leisure
easier.
time, but time to do other things. Time to reallocate.
Right, and already right now, I've watched people. Constant. I sit I'm making phone calls during the day. I'm watching Intersection, and I see people come up to this intersection while on their phones texting, and it's just so common that it happens. This would allow people to text all they damn well want to, and it wouldn't put any kind of risk at all to the people in the car by virtue of somebody spending their time on a laptop or texting. The car can drive itself. To me, this really seems like an increase in safety more than it does an increase in laziness.
And time.
And I thank you, Patrick, for your call tonight. We're out of time, speaking of that. But we'll be back tomorrow for the live Sunday edition. You can join Mark and his co-host at that time on freetalklive.com.
My name is Angel Rach. I'm a mother of 2 teenage children, and I fought all the way to the Supreme Court for the right to use the medicine that saved my life. I've been permanently disabled for 10 years, with an inoperable brain tumor, wasting syndrome, and several other serious conditions. For 4 years, I was in a wheelchair, in so much pain I couldn't even hug my kids. The hardest part was looking in their eyes and seeing how much they were suffering because of my medical condition. The medicine that gave me my life back and gave my kids their mom back was cannabis, also known as medical marijuana. With medical marijuana, I can walk, maintain my weight, and I can be a mom. Without it, my doctors believe that I would die. To learn more about medical marijuana, contact Marijuana Policy Project at 1-877-JOIN-MPP or on the web at mpp.org.
Imagine for a moment a radio program, the most personal of mediums, that reaches hundreds of thousands of people on more than 140 radio stations across the U.S. and around the world through the internet with podcasts and live streams. Imagine the advertising is affordable from $600 to $6,000.